out to all my thugs, nerds, geeks, and freaks. Don, Tony, Teflon, back at you. Another one. This is the Usual Suspects podcast. And as always, I'm rocking with the usual suspects. First to my left is the one, the only Phil the Issues guy. What's going on?
Not too much. Great to be here with you guys to talk a little Game of Thrones.
And right there's the other usual suspect rocking with us. He is Kaiser Sose. No, it's Bridge 4. What's going on?
What's happening, guys? Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. This will be exciting.
Hopefully, it's a good stream. We're going to talk about Jon Snow, and not the Jon Snow that we've seen in the show. We're talking about the Jon Snow that we believe, the stuff that's going to happen in the books. We got Phil's dog is joining us right now in the background.
It's our fourth member. She's trying to settle in and watch it. I don't want to have everyone pay attention to this, but she's gonna rip this cover apart. This is gonna be a whole process right now. She's gonna be like Ghost looking for Jon Snow after he's stabbed at the wall. She's come on, John.
But she is settling in while everybody else that's rocking with us. Let's say what up to the people who are here with us right now. We got Jenna S in the building rocking what up to you. We got Rachel up in the building rocking with us. As always, OTDAs, hold down the Gazette for the down. My brother from another mother, Muhammad's here. Mara Chase is in the building. Miss Duncan the Tall is in the building. Christian Olds is in the building. We have a bunch of people in here. Kiki is up in here rocking with us right now. So we're going to go through everything that we know about Jon Snow and what we think is going to be different from the show, because the show kind of was a watered down version of, I think, the character, and we're going to talk about that right after this. All right, let's go right through. Let's get into it. Now, before we get into it, let's go around the horn real quick. Did you like what they did with Jon Snow's character in Game of Thrones, season 8?
I mean, did you like? And it's a hard question because it's hard to separate if I liked some of the concepts behind what they did with him versus execution and how quickly it seemed. If everything panned out the same way with Jon Snow, but they had taken it over the course of 2 seasons for the material that we got in the final season, maybe it would have been fleshed out more. But I still agree with what Kiki said. Compared to Jon, especially on an intelligence level, they kind of neutered him through the whole series to a certain extent. And it's not like a show versus book thing. It's just a different character. Jon's a little bit more stoic, like Jon in the books will get into it a little bit more. He's a little plottier, a little bit more intelligent at times. So yeah, I mean, I generally didn't. He wasn't the worst part of that season, but I thought it was a little rushed.
So I'll preempt my response by saying, as I always do, is that, in the high school superlatives in the yearbooks, I was voted most easily amused. So I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to piss off either of you guys or anyone in the chat. I absolutely loved almost everything about season 8. I just really, really enjoyed it. I felt lucky to have experienced it over the 8 seasons.
Listen, and I think that a lot of people feel that exact same way. Those people usually aren't vocal, right? The people who love things usually aren't vocal. It's the people who hate things that you hear a lot of. So that's why you hear about, I hate this season. I hate it. Because those people are the ones who always open their mouth. When you're happy with something, usually it's like, think about it like sex, when you're happy with sex and stuff like that, usually keep it to yourself. That was a good night. That's it. You roll over, suck your thumb and dump. But if it was terrible, you're like, damn, I got to go and handle myself in the bathroom. You might talk about it a little more. Thank you for the super chat. Right off the bat. Thank you so much. They made him a mute ballless dope. We'll get into and figure out exactly what they did to the character of Jon Snow. We're going to pick it up exactly from where the books let off, and that is from Dance with Dragons. We'll go through it real quick. At the end of Dance with Dragons, Jon Snow receives a bastard letter from Ramsay Bolton saying that Stannis Baratheon was killed. He threatens Jon. He says if he doesn't give up his people, he wants everybody, he's going to come up there and get him and kill everybody else. Yep. Jon Snow then after that, goes down to the hall with Tormund. He reads the letter. He lets everyone know what's going on. He says, I want you guys to come with me to go avenge Stannis, avenge this guy who's willing to take the skin off of little girls, and let's go down to Winterfell and kill all the Boltons. All of the wildlings are with him. Everybody's willing to go. And then the Night's Watchmen stab him. He gets killed. And his last words that we hear are him saying, Ghost.
Ghost, yep.
All right, let's pick it up right from there. So what happens to Jon right after that spot when he says go? What's the next thing we're going to see about Jon? Phil?
So I actually just thought. Go ahead, Phil.
Oh, no, Bridge, please first.
So I actually just thought about this literally for the first time like a week ago. Because you know how so book 1 doesn't have a prologue, it doesn't have an epilogue. Book 2 has a prologue. That's where we start getting Stannis, right? But so we got a really interesting prologue in A Dance with Dragons. The prologue is Varamir Sixskins, and it effectively, like, what's the purpose of that prologue? It's to talk about soul swaps, which relates to Bran. But the real takeaway from that is that we literally have first person point of view evidence of his body changing souls, riding out, like going out into nature and then going into the wolf. So we now know that the concept of, like, because we had heard rumors of it or secondhand through other people that like Orell was living inside the eagle because Varamir Sixskins told Jon, like, I can feel him. He's in there and he hates you. So, but that was secondhand, right? Do we know if it's true? We had a first person. Well, it's a rolling third person limited, but we had the point of view of Varamir Sixskins. Now we know for a fact that humans can live a second life inside an animal that they're warged with. So that's sort of like the setup. And then obviously with Jon Snow's, I think it says maybe 13 chapters. It's at the end of the book. It's one of the last chapters of the book. He effectively, like you said, his last words are ghost. On top of that, like Melisandre had a vision. She's like, first a man, then a wolf, then a man again. So effectively, the prologue, Melisandre's vision, and him saying ghost, aside from the fact that in the books we know for a fact that he's a warg, it's like, yes, right now it's pretty much confirmed that he's living a second life inside Ghost right now.
Yeah, I think it's hard to refute the thought, or most people would think that he's inside Ghost. I think where it becomes interesting is the dynamic of when that happens, who's driving the car, and I think it might be Ghost driving the car, and when Jon comes back, he's going to be more Ghost than Jon. But that's a different thing altogether. Bridge?
Sorry, real quick, I didn't actually answer the question. What I meant to lead up to, sorry, I rambled for a while, is that for the first time ever, it was literally like a week or two ago. I was like, wait a second, what is the prologue going to be for the Winds of Winter? Imagine if it's a point of view ghost prologue.
Yeah, I could see it being something like that. That I do, in my heart, somewhere believes that the first thing we're going to see from Jon in Winds of Winter is going to be a ghost chapter. That's mainly Ghost with Jon there somewhere within the mind, but it seems like Jon, but it's slightly different, not really Jon. And unlike with Bran, where Bran's more in control, I think in this situation, it's going to be Ghost in more control. The question, and Tony's going to answer the question as well, but the question to kind of lead off of this is, how much is Jon going to be in Winds of Winter? Is he going to be, will that be the last point of view situation we have from him? Will he turn to a character like Lady Stoneheart, where he's in the story, but he's not so much central focus? And what happens but I think the first thing that we see from him will be something to do with Ghost. Either that or 1-1 coming over after the distraction, kicking some ass and ripping some people in half or something. But I think the first thing is Ghost.
Yeah, I think, definitely he's in Ghost. We know. So that's a given. We've seen them try to pull it off in the show, and for whatever reason they didn't. Because when Jon Snow was dead, they had Ghost laying on the floor. And then Ghost didn't move at all. And then when he was about to come back, right when he was about to come to life, that's when Ghost stirred, right? So I think they thought, and they actually said it, like there's a clip that, that they did an interview. And it's Dan Dave, Kit Harington, and the actor who plays Samuel Tarly. And in that interview, they said, what do you want to be? He says, Kit Harington says, I would like to be inside of a wolf. And then the whole crowd starts laughing, and then Dan says, "Wait till season." If you listen, he goes, "Wait till season 7." He says that like right in there. So I think that was their plan. They planned on doing it, but whether they got lazy or not, they didn't do it. So, or they didn't want to confuse people. Like, why is he in there? So that's what it comes down to. I think that when he wakes up in Ghost, he's going to be confused. Like, this is not something he normally does, right? So he may not realize what's going on while he's in Ghost for a little while until he gets his bearings. So my theory about this whole situation and when he's inside a Ghost is that I believe that Jon Snow will become the Ghost of the Night's Watch. Now, if you look at the Ghost of Winterfell, the Ghost of Winterfell is someone going around killing all the people inside, causing a muck. I think that Jon is going to realize that he's going to be upset, And at night, Ghost is silent. You don't know. He's going to be taking out Night's Watch members, and they're going to be finding these guys with their throats ripped out, and they're going to be like, "Where is this ghost? We can't find this ghost," and everything else. But this wolf or whatever. I don't know if they'll call him by his name, but I think that's what will happen. I think that Jon Snow will become the ghost of the Night's Watch, killing all of the Night's Watchmen who betrayed him, until eventually he does get out of his body. So I think that's where it sets up where we leave with Jon Snow. But how long is Jon Snow going to be in Ghost, and when does Jon Snow get out of Ghost? Truly is the question. What do you think about that?
Now, before we go there, I just take hammer in your point. You could say the same thing with Catelyn. When Catelyn is brought back, she goes after the people that killed her in revenge, and almost all on ether, all on pushing through. So that would be in line in how she came back and what her modus operandi was after being reborn. So yeah, absolutely. As for your question about how long,
let me take the super chats because we got two of them here. Jenna says, "What's the biggest grievance you had with the changes they made?" I have too many to name. We'll answer that in 1 second, Jenna. And then she has another super chat. He left. He said, "Oh God, Tony, if you're wrong on that, I'll never finish the books." All right, we'll answer the grievance question. Thank you again for the super chat, Jenna. We truly appreciate it. Continue, Phil, what you were saying, then we'll go through our question.
Oh no, just with Catelyn's storyline, I do think there are going to be some parallels, and we're going to get back to how long he's in Ghost, and I'm sure we'll talk about how he's brought back eventually too. And I think I don't know, it's interesting that in the book there's already two reformed corpses with her and Beric rolling around, and Jon. I don't know. I just wonder how Jon will fit into that. Each one of them has changed a little bit, and they don't really do that much on the show. And I'll answer Jenna's question with that. I don't like how, and I don't know if this is going to be a change, but I have a feeling in the books, Jon will be more changed after his return. And that didn't seem like the case in the show, except he cut his hair and he killed Ollie. But other than that, he basically continued on as Jon Snow. I mean, he had sex with his aunt. He got honor bound, but really he was the same person. I don't think there was any big change in the way Kit was playing him or the way the character was written. And I do think that will be different in the book. You're muted, Rich.
Yeah, you're muted.
So there are differences between the three of them, though, just that we have to keep in mind. So it's like Beric Dondarrion, he was raised, whatever it was, 6 times. He was on his 7th life, and he was less and less Beric Dondarrion each time, right? Lady Cat, she comes back as Lady Stoneheart, but she was dead for 3 days. So that's partially a function of why she was so dramatically changed. So Beric changed because he did it so many times. She changed because she was literally dead for 3 days. Jon Snow, on the other hand, it sort of takes away the logic in the show, since they didn't explicitly say that he's a warg in the show. They gave, like Tone said, they gave the nod to it with Ghost there, but in the books, Jon has not actually ever died. So how much will he change? You change just by having a relationship with the wolf. You become more wolf, and the wolf becomes more human. So the more time I was contemplating this, and then I thought about putting out a video. I'm like, no, this isn't a big enough topic, but I was going to put out a video like, will Jon Snow change? That was that was going to be the title, just because over the course of the books, he's warging Ghost more and more and more. And just the more time you spend inside the wolf, the more you're going to change. But in terms of his resurrection, it's just so different than Beric or Lady Stoneheart, because he's literally never died. It looks to people as if he's died, but his soul has not actually ever died. He's still alive. So now it's just a matter of how do you transfer back the soul? And I guess technically there could be a cost of that too. But I do think that there's a big difference between Jon Snow and Lady Cat and Beric, because they actually died. They died without warging.
Very fair. And I think if he does change, it will be more however Ghost has an influence on him, and how he brings some of that back. And I agree with you so much about, I think with the warging, they were just like too difficult, must move on. We don't need to do that. And again, to answer Jenna's question as another one of those things, I don't like how they took away the warging with all of the other Stark children. That could have been an interesting dynamic to explore on the show with people other than Bran, but they wanted to make it seem so special with Bran. I wish they explored that more with Jon.
Just real quick, I know there's a quick tangent. We'll get back to Jon, but Sansa's final scene with Ramsay, I believe Ramsay's a warg in the books. I think that's part of his relationship with canines, and canines are like the easiest to warg. But in the show, the gates were all open as Ramsay was sitting there. The dogs took a long time to come out, and then I think they were Corsos. They took a long time to come out of the gates that were already open, and they didn't bite his face until Sansa wanted them to bite his face. So I'm not at all saying that Sansa is a warg in the show, but me as a viewer, that is my headcanon, is that she warged she mass warged several dogs to kill him. Yeah, because I don't know, it just seemed like the timing was just too perfect. Like they waited until she was done speaking. That was awesome.
I would love for her to have that ability. But the whole thing is that I don't know. It depends if that ability is tied to the direwolves, right? If you have to have your direwolf still has to be somewhat alive in order for you to have the working ability, or can your direwolf die and you still have the working ability? I think that's what it comes down to. Whether or not that she's able to do that or anything else like that. Is it tied to the wolf itself or not? The bond between the owner of the wolf and the wolf. We're not sure. I don't know about that, but that would be the only thing dealing with that. With Jon Snow in this position while he's the ghost of the Night's Watch, and killing everybody up there. We also have other things going on there that's going to affect. Now I guess the question was how long in the books he's going to be in there. But I think that the whole battle. So they gave Stannis's battle to Jon Snow in the show, right? So the battle with Ramsay Bolton at the wall. I think that's 100% at Winterfell is Stannis' battle.
Yeah, the Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah, I think that they killed Stannis off so they wanted to give Kit Harington a lead role, and it's more dramatic for Kit Harington to kill Ramsay after they did the whole thing, the switch with Sansa, than it would be for Ramsay to do it, right? So I think that's what happened there. So I think the whole battle there, seeing that we see. Is with Stannis Baratheon. It's not with Jon Snow. So I don't think he's around during that situation. What do you guys think about that?
I tend to think that. I think he'll be back somewhere near the end of Winds of Winter. I don't think he'll be. And again, I don't know if he'll have a point of view character or we'll see him. And I guess this could be whose point of view will we see Jon again? Will we see him in a Mel point of view chapter? Will we see him in somebody else at the wall? There's a couple people at the wall, but I don't know. I think by the end of Winds of Winter is where I would instinctually say, but not towards the beginning, more towards the back half of the chapter, after that battle.
The wall has to be sorry. So what perspective, whose chapter? I don't think George said there's not going to be any new, right, POVs. So the only one at the wall that we have a POV is Melisandre, right?
Mel, right? is there a Knight's? Yeah, it is Mel. Mel's the only one.
So we have to see everything through Mel's eyes, I would think, at the wall right now. And now, so we do have factors at the wall too. So we do have Mel at the wall when this goes down, and we do have the Queen is at the wall, and Shireen is at the wall, and Patchface is at the wall.
Patchface, right? Yep.
They're all there at the wall. So killing Jon Snow is a big deal. Do you think that it's possible that that these Night's Watchmen tried to kill Melisandre and the Queen to cover up what they did?
Especially, and I'll let Bridge talk here in a second. Yes, especially if they believe the pink letter. Because if they think Stannis is dead, then why not?
I don't know the exact numbers, but because there are still a lot of wildlings north of the wall. I think that there are just a significant amount of I shouldn't say wildlings, that's a derogatory term. There are a significant number of free folk there. So I heard in your last video, because you were speaking about like what type of how many and what type of men did Stannis leave at the Castle Black? Because he would have left enough, presumably, to be there for Shireen, right? Maybe his wife too, but really for Shireen or for Melisandre. See, the thing about Melisandre, so the first thing she always does is she looks in the flames. So I don't think that she's in any danger per se, because the first thing she ever does is look in the flames for dangers to herself. And so that sort of sets it up that like she's got a shield against herself. It's her visions in the flames. She'll know if someone's coming after her. But I don't think there are that many men of the Night's Watch. Like even when they were battling in a storm of swords versus the free folk, there were so few of them. So I don't think they could put up much of a fight unless they did more of like, they could do an assassination, but they can't put up like a force versus force type fight.
It depends. I think, I would think the most men they would leave is 20. I would say 20 men.
Think so?
To protect her, to protect them.
That changes things then, yeah.
I'm just guessing. I would say it's not going to, because Stannis took a lot of the people. He didn't have a big army. That's why he had to go all the way and start and gather up an army. So he's not going to leave everyone. He needs the men to fight. So I'm saying he left at least 20. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think that 20 will be enough for them to attack and try to take them out, because they did a bad thing here. You know what I mean? They did the bad thing, and I don't know how it's going to go over. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing. What's the reaction going to be? Now, dealing with Mel, she tried to warn Jon of daggers in the dark, right? Yep. And Jon didn't listen to it. You know what I mean? So she's seen something coming, and Jon didn't heed her warning. So she does say that she's seeing Pat's face. There's something wrong with him with blood in his mouth, and that creature is evil, right? You have that situation. You also have Val there too, who does not like Shireen, who's saying that she's tainted and she should die because she has grayscale. So it all depends exactly, would the wildlings be with these night watchmen? Would a couple of them say, hey, let's get this chick, blah, blah, let's get them out of here? You never know. So it would really come down to that situation. But I do think that there's enough Night's Watchmen to attack. And we also see in the show that when Mel was trying to bring Jon back, the Night's Watch attacked them, right? Davos and them stood at the door, and they were trying to beat down the door to get in there. They were willing to attack them to stop them from bringing him back. So it shows that somehow they would do something like that. Like they were going to assassinate Tormund and everybody else. They were going to kill them all, and, if they could, to try to cover up everything that they did. So I do believe it's a good chance of them doing something like that. Now, dealing with Jon Snow's body, because obviously he's dead in this situation, and we've seen him get resurrected in the show. I don't think it's going to go down like that. I don't think it's going to be Melisandre. Do you think that it's Melisandre? Now, he's not really like it's a whole different situation. Like, Melisandre really doesn't have to resurrect him, because we have agreed that he's inside a ghost, right? So I think that most likely his body might get stored inside the wall itself.
Absolutely.
Like put right in the wall, because it's cold in there, and it should preserve his body so it doesn't go bad. And if that's the case, then that may mean that he's going to be inside a ghost for a little while.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too long though, but I do think, because our disagreement we have here is that I envision The Winds of Winter being effectively similar to seasons 5 and 6, at least absorbing those plot lines. I do think, and I'll throw out some tinfoil just real quickly. We don't have to stay on it very long. I personally believe that there will be a Night King in the show. I not only believe that, I genuinely believe that his name is Jon Snow, that he's Bael the Bard's bastard, born in the crypts of Winterfell. So I think that there's a real history of Bastards of the North that underlies this story. And I think, so I do think a head-to-head, like, whereas you think Stannis versus Ramsay is the battle, I think there is a head-to-head that George is setting up for Jon Snow and Ramsay. I think Stannis is going to get destroyed pretty quickly in the book. I think he's going down. Yeah, I think he's going to get destroyed within the first, like, let's say the book is 80 chapters or 90 chapters. I think Stannis is going to be done within the first 20.
So you think it's going to be similar, if not completely different than what it was in the show, where his army gets wiped out fairly simple.
So it ties into actually Jon Snow's resurrection. Personally, I believe that, like, we know for, like, one of the only rules in the story for magic is that, like, only death can pay for life. Whether you're given up, Stannis gave up his life fire to raise the shadow babies, and he couldn't do it a third time. Thoros gives up his life fire to raise Beric. Beric gives it up for Lady Stoneheart. So something, even though Jon Snow's living, his physical body's dead. So something needs to be given up to resurrect his body. And I believe that is unintentionally, like, you can make the argument that Mel would burn Shireen for that purpose, because, now she's seeing visions of Jon Snow, all she sees. I think that it's going to be an unintentional consequence of burning Shireen is to pay for Jon Snow's life. Because so my sort of figurative interpretation of Azor Ahai is that Stannis wins, like, the Manderleys come out, they crash through the ice. So he wins, or not the Manderleys, excuse me. The Freys come out, they crash through the ice. So he wins that battle, but he's got no one there. So effectively, he's going to get crushed in round 2 down there. And then that puts him in a precarious situation where he sends word up.
Can I guess real quick? My dude, right? So let's talk about this real quick. So Stannis was definitely going to win the Cross the Village. You agree with that? We know he's going to light the fire by the Weirwood tree. They're going to run in there. But you have to understand, I think the thing that you're forgetting here, Bridge, is that the Manderleys are on his side.
Yeah.
Right. So if the Mandalays are on his side, now we know they're on his side, right? He doesn't know that. So you have the Mandalays coming behind the Freys. That's the way they said it was set up. It's the Freys, the Mandalays, and then Ramsay is behind them. So Ramsay's out. Only one left in the castle is Roose. So if they are able to defeat them, right at that particular time, what I believe is going to happen, and why I don't think he's going to get taken out, is that he's very smart. The letter comes saying he's dead, right? And I believe that Stannis wrote that letter saying he's dead and sent it out there to Jon.
Get Jon down there.
You know what I mean? To do that, for more men to come down there to actually help back him up. I think it's going to be, when it comes down to it, more of a Trojan horse situation. If they say if he's got the Mandalays on his side, Roose doesn't know the Mandalays are on his side, and they bring back a body in Stannis' armor, and they're holding up his Lightbringer sword. Hey, we won, and they dress Stannis' men in Frey armor that they get. They're going to open the gates. And when they open the gates, they're just going to walk right in. And then once they walk right in, they can go and do whatever they got to do to everybody else in there. So I think that's how Stannis takes Winterfell. I think it's more guile than it is a show of strength. You know what I mean? So that's where, I kind of disagree with you real quick, thinking that Stannis is going to die. I think that's how he'll take out Roose. Ramsay will get taken out before that, or run off. You know what I mean? Get away from the whole situation. But I think that's how he does it. I think it's inside the Frey armor with the sword. Sword. There's a reason why they got that sword so bright. And it could be that's how he attracts them over to the tree, the weirwood tree. He holds the sword up in the air, turns off the beacon light, pulls the sword off. They see that light. They think it's the beacon light. They charge and they fall into the water right there. So I think that's it. And I think that if Stannis is going to sacrifice anyway, he's not around Shireen. If he truly needs a sacrifice, he's going to do it to Theon or Asher. He's got them both right there, and they both have king's blood. So why not sacrifice those two people instead of your own daughter?
There's a really important line. They actually kind of did it in the show too, but it's Davos and him are talking about sacrifice, and he's like if it doesn't mean something, I forget the exact line. I wish I had a word for word, but a sacrifice has to mean something. The only sacrifice that truly means something to Stannis, it's not, he doesn't care whether if Asha dies or Theon dies. He doesn't love them. So the only sacrifice that actually, from a storytelling perspective, would impact him as a person, being the one who to command the sacrifice, would be Shireen, because that's the only person he loves. And just a real quick step back. This is tinfoily, or I don't think it's tinfoily. I think the world probably thinks it's tinfoily, but just very high level. I look at Jon Snow, the sword in the darkness, him, not a fiery sword as Lightbringer. I look at Jon Snow as Lightbringer. So it'd be Stannis killing Shireen. That's his niece Anissa, unintentionally waking the dragon, which is the Targaryen Jon Jon Snow. I mean, that's another point of contention. I think his name's Aegon, whereas most people think, I guess, Jaehaerys or some other things,
or something like that.
Or Aemon.
People in the chat are saying sacrifice Theon. I think everyone would be happy.
Well, you hear if you go into that chapter, when Asha tells Stannis, do it the old way, chop his head off in front of the weirwood tree like Lord Stark would have done, then Bran and Bloodraven are screaming, tree. That's where they want it to be done. They want that blood to be sacrificed right then. So it comes down when this would stand. And I understand exactly what you're saying. Sacrifice isn't a sacrifice unless you're giving up something you can. It's not a sacrifice for you. But I think this sacrifice, it's like saying, when you see Victorian Greyjoy and he's doing all of his sacrifices, he doesn't care about those people when he's throwing them in the water. He has no ties to them or feelings for them, but it still seems to work, right? He still gets the favorable wins with Makoro and stuff. So I think that it's a situation more like that. When we deal with sacrifice, dealing with Jon Snow and Azor Ahai, I think that has to be somebody that you have to care about in the end for the Lightbringer to come around, to light up in the sword. I think that's what it's going to take for that. But these sacrifices, I look more of them like the Victorian Greyjoy, and I think he has Theon, his sister, saying, if you're going to do it that way, because she doesn't want to see her brother get burnt, because she watched the person get burnt in the chapter before, and she thought it was horrible. And she's like, I got to prevent that from happening to my brother. You know what I mean? So That's what. So that's what I think that if the sacrifice is gonna, we got another super chat. Let's take this real quick from Jenna S. She says, "Tony, you're 100%. I think it'll be Theon, not Asha. I think it's definitely Aemon, sir. But I will accept Jaehaerys." Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I think that if anyone, it would be Theon that says, and I don't think that he's around his daughter. But by the time for them to get, because in the show, when you deal with Stannis real quick, and we'll go right back to Jon after this, but in the show, it's feet of snow. I mean, in the books, it's feet of snow, right? At least 3 to 4 feet, if not more, snow is falling there. Yeah. So when that's a path. You have to shovel out a path. Now, I don't know if people ever been in like a deep snow where it reaches up to your waist. Yeah. It's hard to walk. It's like a corridor. You're walking through that. It's like so with 3 feet of snow along the sides, they're actually going to be boxed in when they come down. They're not going to be able, you can't get a horse through 3 feet of snow. It's impossible. These are not super horses. You know what I mean? It's not, yeah. There's no way they can do it. So they'll all be boxed in and they'll all be funneled in there. So I just don't see why Stannis would sacrifice Shireen after he wins the battle. And I think the only way he does win the battle, I think it's more guile, that he sneaks inside there and that's how he takes them out. Because I don't think he can't beat them any other way. And that's why he says the thing, Bolton has blundered. He could have stood inside of this castle and let us starve, but instead he sent some of his forces to me, and that is the advantage he had. And I think that is the problem. That's why Bolton's going to get it, because he fucked up. And he points that out, that he fucked up. And I think he's going to be in the Frey armor. He's going to sneak his way in there, and he's going to take Winterfell. I think that. I think they did it in the show because obviously it's Kit Harington. It was Sansa that was raped, right? It's not Jane Poole, it's Sansa who's getting all this stuff done to her. So it's more dramatic if Jon Snow is the one who avenges Sansa, when we know in the book Sansa has nothing to do with that whole situation. But all right,
just real quick, I want to read this line. It's just such a beautifully well-written line because it has ellipses. Is that what you call like the 3 dots? Ready? It's he's speaking to Davos. He says, "If I must sacrifice one child to the flames to save 1,000,000 from the dark, ... And then in italics, sacrifice, ... So that's very rare that he writes this way. This is an important line. He goes, ... sacrifice, ... It's never easy, Davos, or it is no true sacrifice. So it's that line just always, the way it's written just jumps out at me. I'm like, oh, that line to me says that eventually he's got to burn Shireen. That's like the end of his character arc, unfortunately.
He could. I'm not saying and to say that they made that up themselves and put that in there. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. You know what I mean? It's just, when will he have the chance himself to do that? He can't do it now. He's not around her. By the time it takes her to get to him, he would have had to already take Winterfell. So if he's taking Winterfell, why would he have to sacrifice her at that particular time? I think if Melisandre's down there, she'd rather sacrifice the weirwood tree than anything. She'd rather burn that fucker down. If they all make, because Shireen's getting down there, and Melisandre's getting down there, they're all getting down there together. All right, back to Jon Snow. So Jon Snow's at the war. We agree that his body is put inside the ice cells. Now he's inside a ghost. We talked about the theory I came up with, that ghost is going to be terrorizing all of them, become the ghost of the Night's Watch, killing all the Knights of Castle Black, killing all these guys at nighttime. After that all gets done, everyone, y'all can check out the video I put out. I believe at this time, this is when we got Stannis' man. You have Stannis' man get there. You have Mormont gets there. The fake Arya gets there. And members of the Night's Watch and Tycho Nestoris comes up there, right? Justin Massey, Tycho Nestoris, they have to go to the wall. All right, so they all will arrive at the wall. I think that's what when they get there, you have there'll be some Night's Watchmen who were cool with Jon Snow, who left him and come back to see him in his mutinous ways. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to, they may come and save the day and save Princess Shireen and save the queen and all of them when they get there. Because we also have, we also have Justin Massey. You have the line that Stannis tells him. He's like, he says straight up, he's like, you may hear that I'm dead, and it may be true, But even if it is, you still got to go to Bravos and you and avenge my death and stick my daughter on the Iron Throne. So if Justin Massey, Stannis' word will overrule anything to him. So it doesn't matter what the Queen says or Melisandre says. He's like, Stannis told me to put her on the Iron Throne. She's coming with me. He'll take her, snatch her, and go to Bravos with her. And we know that Stannis does get the men from Bravos because we've seen it in the show, and that's where he got all of his army from. A little early, but that's where he got his whole army from, was from Bravos. So he's definitely going to get those men. So Justin definitely going to go there and return with men from with them. So
yeah, someone needs to serve the role of Davos on the show that protects Jon's body, that gets Jon's body into an ice cell and stops the Night's Watch guys from burning it right away, and not just taking the body immediately and burning it.
That's I can't recall this. I wish I knew this off the top of my head. So Dolorous Ed is one of his best friends, right? He had sent Dolorous Ed out to I think to be like the I don't know what you call it, the warden or the leader of one of the other castles. But Dolorous Ed returned. I don't know if he's still there. I think Dolorous Ed might be at Castle Black, and if so, it's interesting that you said there will be no new point of view chapters. But regardless, even if we don't get a Dolorous Ed point of view chapter, I'm thinking he might be at Castle Black right now. And then, so he would sort of lead that role that Davos does in the show, but we may just see it through a Melisandre point of view chapter. I'm thinking, assuming that if anyone in the chat can look that up, I think that he had returned. I just don't know if he left again.
Yeah, it's hard to say who would be there. Only one I can think of off top head is Melisandre for the point of view chapter. I think it should be someone else. We got another super chat from Jenna. Let's read it out. Thank you so much, Jenna. It says Forrest Blurter just made an what is that?
Agamemnon.
Agamemnon. That's the guy from Lord of the Rings, right?
I think it's from Troy.
Yeah,
from Troy.
It's Greek mythology, Agamemnon.
Reference, and I can't unsee it in my thoughts. Sorry on Stannis again, if you can totally save for later. What point was that Forrest making? Can you make that point again for us so we know exactly what we talk? It's from Troy. All right, yes, from Troy.
In Greek mythology, Agamemnon was the king of Argos, different names of the same region, son of King Atreus. His brother was, he participated in the events leading up to the Trojan War. So to reference what you were saying earlier about the Trojan War. Yeah,
I think that's exactly how Stannis did it. It's the only way it goes down. That's all I could see. So that's the only way. So let's talk about after all that stuff goes down and everything jumps off at the wall from what we know that's going to jump off at the wall. How does Jon get from his body, from Goat's body, back into his body? How will that happen? It's got to happen. How does he do it?
Robin Williams pops out in a genie bottle and goes, "I'll grant you one wish." I don't know. I mean, the easy answer is Melisandre, right? I mean, that she'll do something, but I tend to Bridge, you were saying earlier that your thought is that she may sacrifice Shireen for a different reason, and that effect may bring Jon's body alive. Someone in the chat says, I suspect that Jon's body isn't actually dead. Shauna Best, that makes me think of The Princess Bride, mostly dead, which means partially alive. So we just need Miracle Max to step in there with Jon. But who will bring him back? I don't know. Could it just be the Lord of Light brings him back naturally? If no one brings him back, the body just, I don't know. That's a hard question.
Give it to him.
I can speak to the Lord of Light. There's a great interview with George R. Martin and Michelle Fairley, and it's about like 4/5 of the way through. George R. Martin, he hasn't explicitly said that there are no gods in the story, but he said that no gods have taken stage and no gods. Doesn't plan on gods ever having taken stage. Then he says, I don't even know if the gods are. So people believe in the Lord of Light, he says, but that doesn't mean they're real. They're doing magic, and a lot of times they attribute it to gods that they believe in. So really what I'm getting at with that is that the Lord, there isn't just going to be some magical god being like, all right, Jon Snow's our hero, boom, you're raised. It's going to be something that the characters do. Like, I think it's going to be an unintentional after effect of burning Shireen. So then the only question is like, who chooses to burn Shireen and for what reasons? Like, I personally think Stannis is going to send a raven up there, dark wings, dark words. But for whatever, let's put that aside. That's where I think it's going to be an unintentional side effect of Melisandre burning Shireen for whatever reason she does it.
Now, I guess the side question.
You still think that so the mother allows her to burn Shireen, you think?
Yeah, because I think Stannis is going to be in like a lot of trouble, and I think he's going to send letters saying like, I need help, like burn.
But the first letter they do have is saying that he's already dead, right? So wouldn't they just think he's dead right off the bat, because they have the pink letter saying he's dead? So that's the letter they have. So then they're going to get another letter, you think, that says I'm alive, though? That disregard that first letter.
Yo, so
Forget about that
we're-
first letter. I'm really alive. Come down. You think it's gonna
Well,
Because I'm back.
because we have a difference. We haven't actually said this in the chat. This is something that I just know between you and I.
Yep.
You believe that Stannis sent the pink letter up there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, like, I don't think that first letter came from him. So
Okay.
I do think there'll be a second letter. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I believe when it comes down to Jon Snow coming back, I think that there's two factors, and Bridge brought one up before. First was the Vlad Sixskins chapter. That tells you everything you have to know about warging. Like, it gives us the whole breakdown, the whole book of what we need to know about warging. When Khal Drogo is about to be transformed, the Mirror Master is like, I could perform a blood sacrifice to try to bring him back. She goes in there in the tent and she brings the horse in the tent. And what she says in there is she goes, strength of the horse go into the man, strength of the man go into the horse. And then she cuts the throat of the horse and all the blood goes on Khal Drogo. Now, it didn't work, and I don't believe it worked because Khal Drogo is not a warg. So I think it's the same situation. We look at Vlad Sixskins when he first was warging, when they show in the chapter that he first got into his dog, the way he got out was because his dad killed the dog. And that's the only reason why he got out. He never got out. He didn't know what was going on. He had no idea, but he felt the pain of, and that's when he realized what he truly was, when his dad killed the dog. And that's when his dad sent him to go live with his master. So I think it has to be the same exact thing. I think that Ghost has got to die in order for Jon Snow to get out.
So you think Ghost is going to die, and that's what's going to cause his spirit essentially to jump out of the ghost
right into his body. I think that's the only way it would happen. There's a reason why they showed that in Vlad Sixskins. There's a reason why they said those words when they tried to help that. So Ghost will be sacrificed.
I just want to be clear that their two theories revolve around one a kid dying and one a dog or one a wolf.
I think Melisandre will realize that Jon's in Ghost. Like, she'll be the one to get it. Like, no one else will realize it. You know what I mean? She will get it. She'll understand that Jon is in there, and she'll realize that this is the only way to get him out, and she's going to have to kill Ghost, and she'll cut the throat of Ghost, and then Ghost will die, become a ghost, and Jon will go right back into
Could another red priest bring him back besides Mel? Could Lady Stoneheart show up at the wall to raise Jon and pay him back for what happened with my tinfoil for the moment? Lady Stoneheart shows up at the wall and finally pays back all what she did to Jon in the regular life by repairing his body.
The kiss of life. She can give her life force back.
Yes, he gives her life to Jon to bring Jon.
I think it would be possible, but the fact that Jon would, in order for the kiss of life, from where I understand, and Bridge could say if I'm wrong about this, is that when you get killed, you like your life force somehow has to be inside of your body or floating around, and the kiss of life brings you back. The fact that his life force is inside a ghost, I don't know if the kiss of life would work on Jon while his soul is inside a ghost.
So the kiss of life is being described, or at least and it was a practice that they used to teach. I forget, it's maybe the Red Temple or maybe just like one of those other places over there. But it's described as basically like CPR, right? But they describe it as breathing fire into someone. And the thing is, fire is also used as a synonym in the story for life, like life fire. Like Melisandre says life or life fire to Stannis. Or she actually tells Davos, I can't do another shadow with him because he's used up too much of his life fire. So it's effectively like CPR, but in our world, CPR is just like you're breathing oxygen into them. When Beric died, Thoros ran over to him, and like he ran over to him with love with the capital L, like that's his homie, and his homie died, and he's just like he went over there, like probably gave him CPR, and in the process of just this, who knows if the comet's amplifying magic or if the dragons are amplifying magic, for whatever reason, he had that love with the capital L, gave him that CPR, he breathed. In my interpretations, he didn't like go get some wildfire, he breathed his own life fire and sort of donated some of his life to him. So it's just sort of like a magical form of CPR that you have to just that's very, very few and far between. So you know what I mean? It's something like Dolores said. Like, let's say Jon Snow's there, and Dolores said that's his homie, right? Or if Sam was there or something, maybe they would run up to Jon Snow and breathe the kiss of life into him, like trying to give him CPR. But do you give someone CPR if they just got a ton of stab wounds? Probably not. You know what I mean? They're probably just like, oh damn, he's dead.
Yeah, and the red priest. I mean, Beric's been split in half by the Hound. With you wouldn't give someone CPR with that, but
That's true too. Yeah,
gave it to him.
like,
I mean,
like through the
got
that's
stabbed
true.
in the eye, and his eyeball was out. He still dropped to his knees and put it right in his mouth. Listen, that's a homie. That's a hell of a homie right there, bro. If you get stabbed, your eyes hanging out your head, and that guy's still willing to put his lips on yours, that motherfucker care about you.
That's the definition of a ride or die. A lot of the chat is saying it, and I agree. Stoneheart's too far away. I mean, I'm reaching with that. I'm just offering alternatives.
No, I think Stoneheart does have a role to play.
She does.
With Jon before it's all said and done, because you've seen that they are with Thoros, and in the show they make it for the Battle of the White Walkers, right, with the Hound and everything. So there's still a role to play there. Jenna S., thank you for the super chat again. You're on fire today, girl. She's on fire. We appreciate it. I think you're on to something. How can Jon leave Ghost if he's a viable vessel? He probably don't even want to come back right now. He may have to be forced. Yeah, I don't think he's going to know how to come back. He don't know, how to do that. And I think that's the reason why they put that in the Vlad 16th chapter. The first time he did it, he didn't realize what he was doing until his dad killed that dog, and he felt that pain, and he jumped out that body, and he was forced out that body. So I think it has to go down that way. Unfortunately, I know that I've said this before, and this is the reason why Gray Area says free Ghost, because she knows that I said that.
Oh, that's what this is about? I've heard that phrase before.
That. Yeah, because I made that theory.
Wait, how long ago did you come up with this theory? I never heard it. I don't love it, but it's very, very insightful.
I probably like 3 years ago.
I never. I've talked to you so many times. I never heard. May I ask you a question about it then? I'm going to have to let this resonate in the days to come. I think you make a really great point. So my question though is that to you have you ever visualized whether it's going to be someone like a Melisandre purposely killing Ghost, wondering if Jon's inside of there, or it's an accidental result of the Ghost killer?
Yeah, I think she's going to realize that Jon is inside Ghost, and she's going to have to get Jon out of Ghost, and she's going to cut the throat of Ghost and knock him out and kill him back. Now, could Ghost get the kiss of life and come back? I don't know. I just think that the direwolves' names are there for a reason too, right? And they all are part of their name. And eventually Ghost has to become a ghost. That's why I think he'll be the ghost, like they have the Ghost of Winterfell. I think he'll be the ghost of Castle Black, killing everybody, and then after that he'll turn to a real life ghost when he has to sacrifice his life for Jon Snow to get back into his body. I think that's the way it goes and stuff like that. So I think it goes down like that. With Jon, I think it has to. I don't see any other way of Jon just coming out. Anytime we ever see Arya, when she's warging, it's always when she's sleeping, then she wakes up. But she's not physically coming out of it herself. She's just waking up out of a dream, and then she comes out. This is not a dream. He's dead. His body's dead. He's going to be stuck in there, and he's not going to know. So I think that's just the way it's going. People are like, that's the first time I've ever heard that. I got y'all are supposed to be on my channel. I got these videos. I did all these theories, and y'all acting like you never heard this before. It hurts my feelings. You can go back and look, and I guarantee you'll find I made that theory up a long time ago. I forgot the name of the actual video.
Funny, you're going to see 10 people put out videos on it tomorrow.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Probably. Let me say we have over 120 people watching us live. Thank you very much. Make sure you hit that thumbs up for your boys. This is the Usual Suspects podcast. We are here every Wednesday at 6:15 talking about some Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, winter stuff. And if you want to, you could ask, if you want us to talk about a specific thing, like say you want us to talk about Lady Stoneheart and how endings are, let us know in the chat. We can do Lady Stoneheart. We can do whatever you want dealing with Winds of Winter. We have the superstar, Bridge 4 in the building rocking with us. We have the one and only Phil the Issues guy rocking with us. The Usual Suspects in the building. All right, back to Jon Snow. So when Jon Snow does come back to life, and we all realize he's going to come back to life, I've heard before that people are going to say, that maybe he comes back with like his hair turns white. Like he comes back, his hair turns white like Ghost,
like Rogue or something. Like
Rogue, like his hair, like when he comes back, that's a sign to show that he's different. Like his hair comes back. Do you think that's possible? We got Babyface Phil to say. All right.
It would be cool. I don't know if it's possible, but sure would be neat. And I do want to touch on one thing before we go forward. That Bridge said before about the time frame of Jon's storyline versus what we've seen on Game of Thrones versus the book, because it's easy to just say, we've been waiting so long for Winds of Winter to ignore the fact that there is a second book coming out, and everything that we've seen on the show with Jon theoretically has to be spaced out between two books. Maybe, I mean, I know different things are going to happen, but I tend to agree as well that Winds of Winter is going to be a lot of season 5 and season 6. And with Jon moving forward, how far will we go with Jon? Will Jon ultimately be resurrected like I said, at the end of Winds of Winter, but we won't really get to see what Jon does next until spring. I guess these things can't really be answered, but I do, it's making me think about that when you said that, Bridge, that maybe we might not get as much of Jon in Winds as we will in spring, but I don't know.
Well, that's not what I was saying. I think we'll get a lot of Jon. I believe we're going to possibly the prologue will be Jon dead. Living,
I just mean the length of the storyline that we got.
Oh, okay. I think where he gets to, see, this is like where we have some disagreements in terms of like with Winterfell. It begins with him dead and ends with him as King of the North, as King of Winterfell. That's how I see his arc going. Yeah. But real quick, I just want to say that for what it's worth, I hope Ghost lives. Free Ghost. I just want them to burn that crazy little girl. That's all they need to do. Just kidding.
He's marked for death. Kill her.
Don't leave my girl. We got another super chat from our girl Jenna S. Says, my heart can't take Jon losing his familiar unless he can gain another.
Oh,
Rhaegal.
Losing his familiar. Oh, his familiar meaning the ghost.
Yeah. So listen, if he's going to, take over a dragon, you can't have both, right? That's too much. You can't have ghosts on the back of the dragon riding bareback with you, right? If you're gonna lose one and then gain a
what
dragon,
kind of asshole would do that?
Come on, boy, get on. Let's go.
That's showing off. Yes, shut up, dude.
Like Varamir. To any people that are just show watchers, real quick, Varamir was Varamir six. Was it six? Varamir six skins. He used to ride around a giant polar bear. He had 3 wolves. That's 4. He had a shadow cat, and then he took over the eagle. I guess that's a 6. He became 6 skins when he took over the eagle, Orel's eagle. But he rode around on the back of a giant polar bear. Oh, and also it's worth noting that he could like read their minds. Like they all hated him, but he had control of them. So he's mass warging animals. Like they didn't want to be warged, but so it was a form of slavery. But what a badass though. Like imagine he had a good relationship with that bear. Like I guess it's better to ride a dragon, but still.
And he also says that
cool.
He says before he dies, he says that he should have taking Ghost over. He said that would have been fit for a king. He said that's a war fit for a king. So I think you get the hint also there that he wanted to take over Ghost himself and he didn't. He said that's fit for a king. Jon is the king. So that is truly the rightful king of Westeros. If you go by bloodline, then I think that all ties into that situation. All right. So Jon Snow comes back to life.
You said the hair thing. Can I respond to that real quick?
Yeah.
So I had never ever heard that idea, but so I'm just picturing Jon Snow with like a Targaryen hair. So I believe that his name actually is Aegon, and that his sort of he rises. It's like how like in the Dunk and Egg novels, there's a whole like figurative like someone has a dream of an egg hatching. It turns out to be Aegon, future King Aegon the 5th Targaryen. So I view Jon's resurrection as very similar to that. Like Melisandre had a vision of waking dragons from stone. It's really Jon Snow rising as a Targaryen. So there's no evidence to suggest that his hair is going to turn white, but it would be so cool because it would be symbolic of like that hatching of a Targaryen dragon.
In changing from the wolf to the dragon.
Give him like a streak of white somewhere. Maybe like the girl from Josie's and Pussycats. What was her name? You know what I'm talking about? Her Val with the one streak of hair. Maybe this is a streak. Something that I think it has to be. So I think we all agree that when Jon does come back, he's not going to be the same exact Jon that we've seen. He's going to be I think he'll be more aggressive. Even though he's fairly aggressive now, Jon, when you see him in the books. Like the show, Jon is really, he's passive and stuff. But in the books, Jon's pretty aggressive. He's ready to fight all the time, a drop of a hat. So I think it'll be a little bit worse. All right, so when Jon eventually does come back to life and everything, and I think that me personally, that it will be the Night's Watchmen, whether it happens then. But I think they're the ones who get burnt because we've seen him hang the mutineers. But I don't think they're going to hang him in the show. I think he'll burn them. What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think he won't hang them in that way, and I think part of that scene set up in the show was to get that personal interaction with the Ollie scene and seeing Ollie get hung and all that sort of stuff. So I think in the books he burns all the bodies.
In the show, it was a very effective way of having him swing the sword and get them all out at once. I think that he's going to swing the sword over and over and over. Like this is even though he's Rhaegar's son biologically, like he's Ned Stark's son to the bone. You know what I mean? Like,
all those heads.
I think he's gonna go like guy to guy, bam, bam,
line them up, boom,
play
boom,
whack-a-mole on their
boom.
fucking.
At least he doesn't have to do it to a kid in the books, though, right? It's just going to be a bunch of his brothers traitors.
Yeah, listen, they got to go. The bottom line is we've seen them go in the show, so I think that right there says that they're definitely going to go. Yo, definitely hit that thumbs up button, people. We got over 120 people now in here. Thank you so much for doing this for us and everything else. Like I said, we're here every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be back with another episode next week. Every Wednesday, right? So when Jon Snow does come back. Now you believe we go with Kev because Kev's got something different here than everyone, not than everyone else, but let's go with Kev. So you think Stannis gets defeated, and then Jon Snow has to go and take Winterfell? Can you please explain how you think that goes down when he comes back to life?
So I haven't actually thought that far. Well, I've thought further than that actual event because I believe he wins Winterfell. I haven't actually thought in detail as to like how that goes down. It was only like a week or two ago I was thinking about this, and I don't think this comes into play. Because okay, I have an idea. I just got it. So what I thought about a week or two ago is that how like at one point Brandon mentioned that there are there's a hole in the wall that can take you from this side of the wall here, from this side of the inner wall to that side of the castle on the outer wall. Granted, they don't explicitly state it. I'm assuming that those holes are both inside the wall. So effectively, yeah, it's a cool tunnel that they may use in like the Long Night, but it's not something that Jon's going to be able to use to infiltrate Winterfell and sneak in there. I think that I think that by the time Winds of Winter is dropped, I think Roose Bolton is already dead because we don't have anyone else with POV chapter inside Winterfell right now. I think that's going to be one of the shocks is that the next time we pick up a Ramsay, Roose is already dead. Ramsay's the type of guy that like you said, Tone, he's already going outside the walls. So I do think there's going to be a battle outside the walls just because Ramsay's he's just got too much of a temper. He's an idiot. He should stay behind the walls, let them starve. But there'll be a battle out in the winter. And hopefully Ghost is there.
That was Roose who sent Ramsay to get Ramsay out of his hair. He sent them because they were all fighting. He sent Ramsay, he sent the Manly, and Roose pulled out. See, they dumbed Roose down in the show. The way they killed Roose was stupid. All of a sudden, Ramsay's got a knife like Bronn. He never wore it before him, but in this one scene, he has the knife. None of
the guys around defend Roose, their lord.
He's too smart, I think, for Ramsay to kill him. I don't think he gets killed like that, Roose. I just think he's too smart for that. If anyone's going to kill him, I think it's Lady Dustin. In the end, that'll take him out. Right? That's my opinion. So. But we can agree that at some point they will all, whether Stannis is alive or not, they all will wind up from the wall at Winterfell, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So at Winterfell, when they're at Winterfell, somehow from here we have to see them get to Daenerys. Like Daenerys and them have to meet up or something like that. In the show, there's two. In the show, we've seen him do a meeting with Daenerys for the dragon glass, right? And then we see another thing after that to try to convince Cersei capture a white and bring it down for that. So let's talk about those two situations. Now, it's a different situation when dealing with Daenerys and what's going on at King's Landing because we got the Fagon factor, right? We got the other Aegon in there. So how is this whole interaction going to go down when it's all situated with the Fagon situation? Will Jon Snow run into Fagon? Is he going to meet him face to face? Is that going to happen? Because Daenerys is supposed to be the breaker of lies. I think they both have to run into her, and she's going to have to choose who truly is the rightful Targaryen.
The dragons will choose. I think the dragon will choose in that situation. And the real question about Daenerys, you make me say Daenerys. I'm getting post-traumatic marine stress right now, thinking about how that's all gonna get how Daenerys' story is gonna get anywhere near anything. But that's a different topic altogether. But I do think Jon, who's at Dragonstone right now.
at Dragonstone right now, no one's got Dragonstone right now, right? Daenerys have had to go to Dragonstone, but actually, who holds Dragonstone? If Stannis was holding, he left it. So I don't think anyone.
So it's essentially abandoned right now.
I would say if anyone, it's Stannis. Well, let's go through it real quick. Let me think in my head. Stannis was holding it for a while. Loras Tyrell went over there. He supposedly got killed in Dragonstone, right?
He went to Storm's End, I think.
He went to Storm's End. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's at Dragonstone at this particular time. Who holds it? Maybe somebody else will hold it.
So will they not bump into each other till? And this is just a question rhetorically, or for you guys to go off of, is will Jon meet up with Daenerys when she's still in Meereen and still over in Essos, or not until she actually comes to Westeros?
She has to come to Westeros. So I don't think Jon's going to Meereen at all. I think
No, I tend to agree with you.
Sorry. Like, I was just picturing Jon like going over, like, why not check out his shy? Like, there's a White Walkers are coming. I'm gonna go on a little sea trip.
Go to mission.
Let's go. It's too cold in North. Let's go to the summer island to get a tan for a second.
He can send ravens, or he can send word over there.
These whites will still be here when we get back.
Don't worry, guys. I'm coming right back.
It's a quick journey.
If he jumps on a dragon, he could do it. You know, he can take a flight.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But no, I think that serious. Dany has. I don't think that they made that up. Dany's going to have to base herself on Dragonstone.
Yeah, definitely.
She'll wind up there and she'll base. Now it comes down to what we see with Fagon. From what we know about Fagon is taking Storm's End, right? He's going to take Storm's End. And from Storm's End, what happens with Cersei in King's Landing? All that is what's determined. That's truly another video that we did.
That's another topic altogether.
We do a whole Fagon video that explains exactly what's going to happen with Fagon, dealing with Cersei, and dealing with Daenerys. But I do believe at one point, all three of them will get together. It'll be Dany, it'll be Fagon, and it'll be Jon Snow.
Sarah Charles is telling me the Loras got hurt on Dragonstone. I thought it was Storm's End, but maybe
I thought it was Dragonstone that he got burnt at. I thought it was Dragonstone myself too, right there. I think that he got burnt and supposedly got killed with some fire or something like that in Dragonstone.
Candy popped in and said, "Evening all, Loras Tyrell is at Dragonstone." The way she said that is so confident that I'm going to take Candy's word.
What up, Candy?
Yeah, just the way she just like enters evening all. Loras Tyrell.
That's what I thought. I thought he got hurt at Dragonstone. They went to Dragonstone to take it over, and he got killed there. You know that I don't know if he if he gets killed or anything else like that, but that is, I think that's where he got it. We have
you guys are both absolutely right. That it's Loras Tyrell took Dragonstone. Wow. So and it says after Stannis' Castellan, Sir Roland Storm declined Rollis' offer. So Stannis left the Castellan there, but effectively, it was right for the picking because he took his army away.
Yeah.
So it's effectively in Cersei's control right now. But she probably hasn't moved many people there because Cersei's so paranoid. She's going to have anyone she can in and around her.
Yeah, that's why I think Daenerys takes it easy. All she's going to do is sail her ships there, and they get out, and boom, it's hers. You know what I mean? It's not like it's going to be a battle of any type or anything's going to go down with it. She's just going to get there, boom, everyone's going to bend the knee. This is it. This is my spot, and that's all. And that's going to be her loading dock, her loading space from there, and people will come there and greet her and everything else and all that. So do you think that, let's go through that, Jon Snow in the show goes to Dragonstone to meet her, to get the dragon glass? Do you think that's going to happen in the books, that he's going to have to meet her specifically for that reason, to get dragon glass because the White Walkers are coming?
Yes, and well, first I'll just say, I believe this stuff is actually into the final book, which I think will be 2 more books after the Winds of Winter. I don't think there's 2 more. I think it's the Winds of Winter, and then there's going to end up being 2 more after it. So this stuff, just, you guys may think it's in the Winds of Winter. I'm thinking that what we're talking about now is in the next one, but regardless, to answer the question though, a cool line from, because I was obsessed with them healing the Night King with blue dragon glass that I thought I saw on the show. I was so wrong. But so Stannis does in the books, he mentions that there's like most common dragon glass is black dragon glass, but there's also I think it's green, red, and purple. And it's like, where is there green, red, and purple? Most likely there's green, red, and purple, and presumably, oh yeah, he's actually looking. They read that Dragonstone has all this dragon glasses, mostly black and the green, red. So yeah, I do think that they have to mine that. What's interesting though is I'm picturing that being in the book A Dream for Spring, like in the very beginning. That's sort of when he meets up with Daenerys. But yeah, so I guess that kind of scene does have to go down. Man, they've got so much to fit into 2 books. That's why I bet he's struggling so much to write these.
I think, when it comes down to I don't it's a lot, but I think it's wins is the most. And I think he could make a shorter version of Dream of Spring. He can eliminate everyone in wins. Or he can kill so many people off so that it's a really easy story for him. You know what I mean? In the end. And I think that if anything, that's what he's going through. Peace out, AK. Thank you for stopping by. I think that's what he would do. You know what I mean? He'll wipe out everyone he has to wipe out as quick as possible. And that way it goes down to, Fernandez T.
Oh, Fernandez.
Thank you for the super chat. It says, happy hump day. Cheer. Hello, gents in the chat. Thank you so much, Fernandez T. Always rocking with us. Everybody, make sure you hit, we have over 130 people in here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Let's keep it going. Hit the thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the Don Tony Teflon's Phil the Issues Guy and Bridge 4 channel. You know what I mean? Make sure you subscribe to all of our channels, but subscribe here if you want to watch this, the Usual Suspects podcast, every Wednesday at 6:15. We're jumping this off. And we made the name up without you, but do you like the name, The Usual Suspects? You good with that?
Yeah, I love it. I just love you too. You guys are awesome. It's a pretty badass name. I feel like it fits you guys very well. I don't know how I fit into that.
You're the Kaiser Soze.
You're Kaiser Soze.
I know that's kind of creepy. We're calling him Kevin Spacey, but you are the Kaiser Soze.
I don't know. I don't even know what a Kaiser Soze is.
You never watched the movie Usual Suspects?
I always resort back to this. I had a really bad head injury. I lost most of my memories from before that.
Well, you're gonna have to watch it. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Maybe we'll do a review. Maybe we'll do a review of a special episode of The Usual Suspects where we do a review of The Usual Suspects.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. That would be fun. All right, so super chat from Jenna S. Thank you, Jenna. Jenna S. We love you. We love you so much. Danny's coming to him for support against Fagon, but he wouldn't unless she helps with the war first. That's my 10-4. So Danny comes to him for support, and he says, unless you support me with the war first, I'm not going to. All right. We're going to do a video on Fagon. We're going to go through the whole Fagon situation and everything else. So we won't touch too much on Fagon on that. I think it's a good thing, but we'll do a whole video on Fagon and everything and how's it going to end for him and when's the winner. I don't think he makes it out of it, but we'll do that video and then we'll talk more about that situation. But let's go. Does Jon Snow capture a white and bring it down to prove to people, whether it's Dany, Cersei, whoever, that the White Walkers truly exist? Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't.
I don't think so. No, I think that's a show creation to get all of the main principal actors in one place at one time. I don't think we'll have something similar to that. I personally just don't, because a lot of that has to do with Tyrion being there and bridge and kind of figuring that whole situation out. I don't know. No, I don't. My instinct is no.
And just even the people that he went up there with in the show, granted, it doesn't have to be the same people, but they're not even alive in the books. Like Barrick's long dead. Barry's dead.
The Hound's going to be there, eye in the mountain. I'm going to kill you, you cunt.
And if they do that, if George does that, George writes that, and he acts, then he don't want to write no more. Right? like he done gave up. He's like, you know what? I'm just but if not, then. What proves?
Wait a second.
If they need proof, how would he prove to them that the White would he need proof, or would just the word of Stannis, the word of? That's why Stannis has to be alive, because some people's words gonna hold weight no matter what. If Stannis Baratheon was alive and said there are White Walkers out there, people would believe him. They know Stannis don't bullshit.
If Jamie sees it, she'll believe Jamie as well too.
To play devil's advocate to what I was saying, I didn't think it would happen. There has to be, what's her name? Selyse showed up to Castle Black saying, like, we had to get here because like the attack's going to happen at Eastwatch. And Melisandre's had like visions of a tower. It's a different tower than Eastwatch, but visions aren't always completely accurate. She said they sort of picture the wall falling at Eastwatch, similar to the show. how's the wall going to fall? Most likely a dragon, you would think, right? So it's for one reason or another, a dragon has to get north of the wall. Actually, and that brings me back to like Queen Alicent. Like when she was flying around, the dragon didn't want to go north of the wall. It's like almost like dragons know, like, don't go north of the wall. The Night King's up there. So for what other reason so I do think that sorry, to wrap it up, I think there's going to be a dragon that has to take down Eastwatch. Like it's going to be Viserion. It's going to be a raised white dragon or ice dragon, a white dragon or ice dragon.
A blue-eyed white dragon.
It'll be, I think, all right, so dealing with the dragon, I think it's an ice dragon without a doubt.
So?
I think that was one of my first videos is going to be an ice. And I think it's a real ice dragon that freezes people. Not the blue flame bullshit. It's going to freeze people because you know what I mean. Because George R. Martin's already had it in his books, his stories of ice dragons.
Didn't he have a book called like a short?
Yeah, he had a little book called The Ice Dragon. That big ice dragon took out 2 fire dragons by itself. That one ice dragon, and anytime it flew over, it froze everything it flew over. So I think that will, without a doubt, be an ice dragon when it's all said and done. Now going to the wall. I don't think that a dragon brings the wall down. So
the Ice Dragon couldn't. So how do you think the wall will come down?
I think the wall falls down. I think that the Night King will resurrect the 69 sentinels inside of the wall with their spears, and that they'll come back to life, and then they'll start attacking people plus all the other dead bodies and stuff like that. And from there, because they say it's the horn. Because one of the guys inside there was buried with the horn too, so I think that horn that he'll blow will help blow that. We'll shatter them.
We'll shatter the magic.
Shatter a hole big enough. I don't think the whole wall. As I told people before, the whole wall is not coming. It's not dominoes. It's just going to be a hole in the wall that they can travel through. You know, it's not like it's going to be dominoes. One thing, it just all tumbles down and that's it. It's just going to be a hole that they can go right through. And to me, the wall has no magical effects to stop White Walkers. We have not seen that in the books yet. The wall ability to repel White Walkers. We've never seen it.
The one thing that maybe Cold Hands said that he could not come through the wall.
So he's not a White Walker, right? Yeah. So we're talking about White Walker. So to repel the White Walkers, we haven't seen it. In fact, the Night's Queen lived in the Night Fort for all those years, and the Night Fort is known for being the only castle that has stairs and everything actually in bedrooms built into the wall itself. She lived there no problem all those years, right?
I don't think she may not have been a White Walker though. I think that she was Danny Flint, just a human, and the winners rewrote history. But let's pretend she's a White Walker.
If she could have been, I'm not saying, we definitely, we're going to do a whole thing on all the Night Court atrocities and stuff like that. But
I sort of got you disconnected. Let's go back to the wall.
From what we've seen, that he's seen her pale as ghost, blah, 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 running around. He caught her, and when he gave her his seed, he gave her his soul. Seems like she could be a White Walker, and if she was, she lived in that motherfucker for all those years, and nothing happened to her. She got fucked and everything else for all those years that sacrificed, and nothing happened to her, right? So if the wall truly had this power, she wouldn't have been able to do that, but she did. So we could definitely talk about all this. So
someone said 69 Sentinels. Why don't I remember that?
Oh, you don't know?
I think it's a 79 Sentinels. 69 is a better number.
Someone in the chat said that. So it's a 69 Sentinels. Why don't I remember that?
It's a set. Well, we can talk about all the atrocities in the wall and everything else. We'll talk about the Sentinels. We'll talk about Danny Flint. We could go through. We can do another podcast talking about all that stuff that went through that. That's easy enough for us to do and everything else.
Just real quick though, a one-liner is that Jon could not, like when Ghost is north of the wall, when he came back south after he climbed the wall, came south, he couldn't connect with Ghost telepathically until Ghost came back. And that, you know what I mean? So the wall sort of seemed to block his ability to warg to Ghost.
Well, I think also he's not a strong enough warg to actually pull it off. I mean, it didn't prevent Vladimir Sixskin's ability to do anything with anybody.
Vladimir was north of the wall with his animals. When Jon was south of the wall, he couldn't connect with Ghost, who was north of the wall. And then all of a sudden, Jon went like out of the gate one day, and Ghost ran. All of a sudden, he's like, "Wait a second, what is that?" And then Ghost showed up, and they connected again. So it seemed as if it blocked there.
I think you could be right on that, and maybe I would have to check the Vlad, and see how he reacts to it. But it could be, even so, if it was able to block warging ability. or something. It doesn't mean it blocks White Walkers.
Exactly.
So it's put up to block White Walkers. Now we know the wall is fugazi, right? If you look at what it was when it was put up and everything else, and the whole story of the wall wasn't built by no damn brand to build it. It was just built by these children of the forest, fucking these lying bastards, right? And they said, hey, this is going to protect you from the White Walkers ever coming back. We're going to put magic in it, and you guys aren't supposed to come back here. We're going to live back here, and you stay away from us, right? This is what it was supposed to be, but we know that they're liars because they're the ones who made the White Walkers, but they didn't say that at the time.
You think we find out in the book that they made the White Walkers as well?
Huh?
Do you think we find out in the book that they made the White Walkers as well?
Yeah, we do. We got another super chat from Jenna S. The big one right here. Thank you so much, Tony. Do you have a video on all those ice and traitors being brought back? Because I checked it out and you guys tried to escape, right? And the dad turned into and got burned alive alone. Yes, I have a Night Fort video a long time ago. Probably I did. If you look in my video, I have so many, but if you look at my videos, I do have a video on the Night Fort and everything that happens in the Night Fort and why. So what with the story of the Sentinels is that they were mutineers of the war. Real quick, they left and went to the guy went to his father's land. His father took them, captured everybody, brought them back because they were deserters. They cut holes into the wall and put them all in there. And the father went in there with them and sacrificed himself in there. They said because they weren't willing to defend. Now you can stay at your post forever. And then they sealed them in there with ice. And that's how they got in there. They're packed inside of the wall. So that's a quick version of that story there. But I do have a Night Fort video. I do have a video on that. Maybe I'll do a whole upgrade. I did that probably like 5-6 years ago. So maybe I'll do a upgraded version of the Night Fort and talk about all the atrocities. But we'll do a whole podcast on it. And I'll talk about everything else there and everything else like that. So, I'll definitely do that. But yeah, if you check my videos, I probably got a video about it. About all these things. I've done so many. All right, back to Jon Snow. So we all agree that there's going to be no discovery of the White Walkers, no pulling a White Walker to King's Landing. We're not going to have anything like that go down. So that we go with that. And how about let's go with the Jon Snow and the Night King situation. Do you think that Jon Snow does actually get to fight the Night King one-on-one, or will it be a situation that we see? What is that? Someone talking?
Is this me?
I think we can hear some music.
There's some music going on. Is that
it's
you?
Not me. I live in an apartment complex.
Oh, people in the car. That's fine. All right. That's all right.
Oh, no, it adds atmosphere. I thought. See, in my imagination, you're just listening to this like amazing music that's going through your whole place.
Yeah, they're getting after it.
Yeah, they're getting after it right now.
Nice. I should be, but hey, that's not the way. My life revolves around a bottle of lotion right now. All right.
I do think there's more interaction between Jon Snow and the Night King in the books. I think it is leading up to some sort of interaction. Maybe not a big one-on-one battle, so to speak, but I think there's going to be something there. My instinct, again, I'm only going by instinct because someone said this in the chat earlier. It might have even been Jenna. Aside from Jon being in Ghost, I'm not sure of anything. This is, so my instinctual mind thinks that in George's notes to them, it was the Jon Snow faces off against the Night King. They changed it to Arya at the last minute to subvert expectations and not have Jon kill both the Night King and Daenerys. So, but I think in the books, Jon does kill the Night King.
Ahead of season 8, I made a video. It was like top 10, blah blah blah. They're going to kill the Night King or something like that. So of course, my number one was that I thought it was going to be Samwell Tarly with the blue dragonglass dagger, stabbing him in the back, similar to the way that Howland Reed did to Sir Arthur Dayne. And I thought they'd be healing him. I thought eventually he would go from the Night King back to a human and all the white, like the whites and everything. So that was my number one, which obviously is completely ridiculous. But my number two, this is before the show. I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty sure my number two was that it would be Arya. Because Arya is like literally the very first thing that Syrio Forel did to Arya is he threw a sword and said, and she dropped it. And he's like, next time you'll catch it. And so in the books, I wouldn't have been able to predict this, but because the show had that scene with Arya and Brienne where she and then threw it to the side, I'm like, okay, that's going to be a major plot point. Now she's got a dagger that she learns how to throw and catch. And then it also just goes right back to that Serial Pharrell conversation. It's just like, what do you say to the God of Death? Not today. So like, I always kind of like, aside from my tinfoil, let's heal the Night King theory, I always thought it'd be Arya, not Jon Snow, even though I think the Night King's name is Jon Snow.
Now to the point, I just want to make aware the point that a lot of people are making in the chat, and I know both of you agree that there probably will be one, and I've read the books, I've gone through it, but I'm not a book expert in the way that you two are. So by doing these Winds of Winter stuff, I'm going to be learning as much as, you know, asking questions and stuff. So I know people in the chat are asking or saying, is there a boss white in the book? Will there be a Night King in the book? And this is a side question to you for you two. Will there be a Night King? I think you guys both have answered this. Will there be a Night King in the book?
Yeah, there is a Night King in the book. There's no reason for them to bring up the Night King the way they did, not to have something else. Dan and Dave did not just make up the Night King. They just didn't come up with it. And in the first episode that he premiered, he was called the Night King, as he is called in the books. That was, if you looked at the credits when it rolled.
And they changed it to Night's King later.
And then they changed it after that to Night's King. But when it first came up, it was the exact same way that they said it in the books. So that's who he is. And that's what's going on. There's no reason for them to change it. George probably got to him and said, hey, I didn't put that out in my books. And then they changed the name. So for that reasons, I think that there's not a doubt in my mind that there will be a Night King in the book. Bridge?
Yeah, I 100% think that there's going to be a Night King in the book. I think that my whole tinfoil theory, just I'll make it real quick, is that I think that Bael the Bard's son was born in the crypts of Winterfell. His name's Jon Snow. He then became the 13th Lord Commander. I think he married Dany Flint. So you've got a Jon Snow, Dany Flint, Dany Fire. It's effectively like what's going on with Jon Snow and eventually Daenerys Targaryen. I think that his half brother Brandon the Breaker came up there, broke guest right, killed him. He fled north, and like if there was going to be a Blood Moon prequel, I think the very last scene of the prequel, like they call it the Long Night, but you know, like they erased his name from the books and then banned his name from ever being said. So it's like they're covering up something. The winners write history, right? That's why I don't think they were White Walkers. I think that they were just trying to paint them as that. I think the guy, Jon Snow, who became the 13th Lord Commander, he sort of tried to paint had his own kingdom. He carved out his own kingdom. His half brother Brandon the Breaker killed his family and his kids, his wife and his children. So he fled north. And at that point, that's when the Andals were arriving and burning down Weirwoods. I think the children. That's when they're like, all right, game on. You broke the pact. So he flees north. So my tinfoil theory was that if we had Blood Moon, it wasn't going to be fights versus the White Walkers. It was going to be more of a human civil war with this, like instead of a Targaryen civil war, it would have been Stark civil war. And that literally like, the very last scene would have been him getting converted into the Night King. And then we all would have been like, whoa, that's how this show ends. So, sorry. To answer your question, yeah, I think that there'll be a Night's King. I think it is the 13th Lord Commander.
That's great.
Oh, well, let me say one more thing, because people are going to get mad at that. That's like George R. R. Martin has said, like, people have asked, is that the Night's King from the show? And he's gone on record as saying, no, they say, is the Night's King of history and lore, is he still alive? And George's response was, the Night's King is no more likely to be alive than Lan the Clever or Bran the Builder. So most fans are like, George R. R. Martin said, no, he's not alive. I'm like, wait, if I asked you, like, is your dog still alive? You'd say yes or no. You don't go, my dog is no more likely to be alive than, you know, blah, blah, blah.
He's one of the best on the planet in bullshit answers. He's like, you didn't phrase that exactly correctly to ask me the right question.
I think he tricked everybody with a really bad answer. To me, I'm like, that's a blatant admission that, yes, he is still alive.
I think that's what it is. And I think, you know, you can't give away your book. He's not going to give it away 100%. But he doesn't want to make it look like he's lying, but he doesn't want to give it away at the same time. So he's trying to, like, you know, but you got to understand that Lan the Clever and them aren't White Walkers, so they wouldn't be alive. He may still considerably be dead as a White Walker, so he could be dead and still in White Walker form right now. So if you want to look at it like that, he could have meant it like that too, you know. So, but no, people just listen. If you listen to George, you'll never get it because he's always trying to steer you off the track because he wants to be fresh. You know what I mean? All right, so. He says, Jen says, sir, what is your channel again? Obviously, she's not talking about me because she's on my channel. No. So we got Bridge 4 is on the bottom right there. We got Bridge 4. His channel is Bridge 4. Fill the Issues Guy on the top. His channel is Fill the Issues Guy. And that is all of our channels and stuff. So definitely subscribe to all of our channels and watch all of our videos and everything else. Because that's what we do. And then come back here and watch the Usual Suspects podcast every Wednesday, and that's what it is and stuff. Maybe we'll put it in podcast form. Phil does, but I'm not doing that.
I could figure that stuff out.
We'll see. All right. So therefore, I believe that Jon Snow will fight the Night's King. I think what's going to happen. This is the way I said it. I'll say it again. I'll go with it. He's going to take that sword Dawn. He's going to stab Daenerys with the sword Dawn. The sword will then burst into flames, and then he will have Lightbringer, because I don't believe the Night King can be hurt by regular Valyrian steel or anything else. I think he's got to have Lightbringer to beat him.
You don't think a Valyrian dagger is going to take him out with a small little punch?
No, I don't see the dagger drop, catching him in the stomach, and him looking. It's funny. He looks down at the dagger too. He's like, "Oh!" It's not going to be a situation like that whatsoever. I think he's gonna be like, the best way I could put it is like, he'll be like Sauron in Lord of the Rings. It's like going through people like nothing. You know what I mean? He's gonna be waxing these dudes, going through them and everything else. But it's gonna be that Dawn. It's gonna be Dawn. There's a reason why Rhaegar was best friends with Sir Arthur Dayne, because he knew that sword was the sword. And there's a reason why that sword is white, because it's not lit. You know what I mean?
I guess with Jon, to bring this back to Jon for a question for, at what point in the books, if we do at all, do we learn anything about Jon's parentage? We haven't really talked about that yet. Is that ever uncovered by Bran? Do they find something in Lyanna's tomb by finding like the harp? It leads to something else. Like, is there any way of, does Holland Reed show up and kind of clue everybody in on what's going on?
I would love to see the harp in the tomb. So bad.
I would love to see that.
So long ago, but most likely it's a Bran going back in the time situation. Yeah. That's how they figure it, and then Howland Reed to confirm what Brad says. I think that's because Howland Reed will make a return. I think to confirm that that's the truth. But I think Bran will be the one to go back and figure it out if he hasn't already figured it out. We'll have to do a whole Bran podcast to talk more about Bran, but I think that's how it happened. I think it is definitely Bran who figures that out and everything. What about you? What are you thinking, Bridge?
Yeah, I haven't thought that far ahead as to whether Sam would play a part. Bran, I think, will definitely play a part. And but in the show, it's like Sam was the one to initiate it, and then Bran just confirmed it. So I haven't actually brainstormed that far.
Or it was actually Gilly, I guess. It wasn't.
I guess. Yeah. Shout out to Gilly. She's awesome. The Gilly flower. However, I do think that he will find out in the books. But and that he won't take on the name, just like in the show. Granted, he didn't have much time in the show. It was war. But I don't think in the book he'll take on the name.
She was also his queen.
Mr. J, can we address Blood Raven? We have to do a whole podcast. If you look at my playlist, I've done many videos on Blood Raisin. I keep saying it. I've done many videos on that, dude. You can check it out. Children.
We will. But the funny thing about Blood Raven is
we could do a whole Blood Raven podcast.
He won. If we accept the actual ending of Game of Thrones as Bran being king at the end, which we say that George says is Bran's king at the end, then Blood Raven wins. He's sitting there because he's controlling Bran, or he's at least part of Bran.
I have a total theory about that whole situation. that goes into my whole theory.
Yeah, with
how the children of the Forest.
It's all connected. Yeah,
on the Iron Throne when it's all said and done. I came up with that theory years ago, and it's there. You guys could check it out, and if you want, it's on there and stuff like that. How they really won the Iron Throne. It's the children of the Forest and everything else.
Bran being king is crap. The Blood Raisin, it's the Blood Raisin.
Yeah, Blood Raisin. I always say I have this thing that I say Blood Raisin all the time.
I like that better.
Yeah, I've been saying it for years. I keep saying
I've ever heard you say it.
Keep messing it up, but Sam Rixian is supposed to make me a shirt, the Blood Raisin shirt. She's supposed to do and put it for me. She never did it for me yet, but she's a busy girl. But she's supposed to do that. Yeah, I always say that stuff and everything else. But I think it goes down like that. I think that he defeats him with the sword of the morning. With Sir Arthur Dayne's sword on fire is how he defeats the Night's King. What about the end with Jon Snow going to the wall at the end? Is that the way it ends for him leaving Westeros and just living beyond the wall?
I do think, I know that you guys don't like this, but I do like, there's a line that jumps out at me. It's Jon Snow's like, he just feels like such a failure up at the wall because of everything he's doing. He makes like the right decisions for humanity. He's making the wrong decisions in order for like the customs of the historically what the Night's Watch has done. But he said like at the end of the day, like my name will be shadowed forever. And so like I believe that the Night's King's name, it was Jon Snow, and it was shadowed in one sense because they literally banned his name and erased his name from history. But I do think that Jon Snow, because he's going to end up killing Daenerys, that he like there are people in the future that will not hear the true story that he like saved. Like Daenerys started going a little wild, she got a little crazy, and then he saved the realm basically by doing that. But people are going to hear different stories of actually what he did, and some are going to think he's evil. He's going to go north of the wall, but that's where he wants to be anyway. You know, he's just going to want to be there. And B, the dude's already died. So it's like, I can't imagine coming back from the dead and wanting to live amongst other people. It's kind of like, all right, like I'd want to be like Dr. Manhattan. Like, I don't know, the people in these lives, like, I'm just tired of it. I want to go to Mars.
Be like the Incredible Hulk walking town to town. You don't really want to like live around too many people at that point. And to your point about him killing Daenerys, and history will look at him similar to what the generation that we are familiar with look at Jamie for what
that's a good point.
Save the day, but looking at him as a Kingslayer or Queenslayer, and I don't know, are they going to be lovers in the book? I was just going to say the lovers.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you that because you said that him stabbing her. I'm guessing you're saying that they're going to have a relationship, right? Because that effectively makes it a more powerful type sacrifice.
Yes. Yeah, they have a relationship when he stabs.
Someone in the chat says Danny won't go crazy in the books. Will Danny go crazy? I guess that's a different
podcast. We're talking about Danny and how crazy. We will have to do a whole Daenerys podcast.
Oh no, I'm getting.
It's interesting because we have to like lightly touch on topics, but we're like trying to focus on Jon Snow. But of course, they all intertwine with each other.
Exactly. I think in the end he does go beyond the wall. I think he goes beyond the wall. I think he goes with Val. I think him and Val. That's his chick.
That's a happy end. That's a happy ending.
She's there for him. I think that's his girl in the end. He's with Val when it's all said and done, and him and Val go off into the sunset.
Too bad you think Ghost is gonna die, you evil. No, I'm kidding. That's a great theory. I like that theory. Going back to the other one about that Jon's spirit's forced out of Ghost by being killed. By Ghost dying as much as I want to free Ghost and not have Ghost die. It is an awesome thought.
Has to happen that way. Guarantee it. I guarantee it goes down like that. That's a done deal.
Do you remember? I don't know if no, absolutely. I'm gonna have to let that idea definitely think about it.
You gotta let it ruminate. You gotta let it ruminate.
Yeah, what's the word? Ruminate.
Ruminate. That's a Norm Macdonald. I
was gonna say marinate. But Joan, do you remember at some point? It's either with Ygritte or when she's still alive and he's like back at maybe when she's south of the wall, or it's with thinking about when he looks at Val one time. But at one point in the story, he actually does one picture having children, and he would name his son Rob. That's so adorable. Imagine if so. But yeah, I'm totally with you. I would love, as a fan of Jon, just wanting people to be happy. I want to see him go north of the wall with Ghost and Val and a son named Rob.
It will be Val. Ghost won't be there. He'll be there. You're
crushing a little boy's dreams, Tony.
Right? You'll get a part of that. You know what I mean? Like so, it's bittersweet. George says the ending. Daenerys is gonna die. Jon's gonna live, but he's gonna live beyond the wall. You know what I mean? But he'll have Val. So you have your bittersweet. He's loved the wildling chick first. He's gonna end up with a wildling chick in the end. And who's similar to Daenerys, right? He's with Daenerys, and if you look at Val's look, she's kind of like a North version of Daenerys, right? Right? She may be better looking than Daenerys when you really put it all together. And the way these guys are sweating Val, like they're dying to get to marry Val.
I know, right?
All of them are like, yo, I gotta have that. I want to, they're dying. You know, that's something that Stannis uses to try to persuade Jon to leave the wall. He says, I'll marry her off to one of these guys. Which one do you want to give her to? The guy who likes to rape women, or the guys who it's up to you, So he does that. He does a lot of things to trying to get Jon. But in the end, it'll be Jon with Val when it's all said and done, going beyond the wall and living in the north. That'll be that. So that's how I think it ends for Jon Snow and everything else. Better look in the Danny, please, man. Haha, Val sounds great, but Danny's supposed to be George. George dropping beautiful. If you read the way they describe Val in the books and the way the guys react to Val, They reacted more to Val than they have reacted to Dany. That's from what I have seen. That's the way it is. I mean, people get a little reaction from Dany, but not like these guys is fighting by ready to kill each other to have a chance to be with Val.
They're not used to seeing girls like that in the North, though. I guess that's part of it.
That's a good point too. It's all relative.
You know what I mean? So
if she's walking through Dorne or something, people might not stop and stare quite as much or something.
So there was I forget which lord it was, but you're right. There was one lord that like he goes up to Jon. And he's like, "Wait, have you slept with her? It doesn't really matter as long as she's not pregnant." Like he just
you slept with that spine. You didn't get her pregnant. I don't care.
I'll take her. Yeah,
no problem. It's like with a long honey blonde braid past her hips. You know what I mean? And then listen when they oh my god, you can go into my theory how I know it's gonna happen. When she comes out there and she's dressed up in the out, she has a weirwood tree brooch on her neck when she comes out there, when she's presented, and she's wearing her sister's clothes. She has a weirwood tree brooch on her neck. She's dressed in all white. To me, it's all symbolism that Val is with Jon would be like the king of the wall, beyond the wall. He'll be the new king beyond the wall, and Val is his wife to be the new queen beyond the wall. I think the reason why she's white is because the weirwood tree's all white. She's dressed in white. She has the brooch on her neck. Jon's a part of the old gods. That's what it's going to be. That's why they're together. But you can check out again. I have a video I've done already on it. If you want me to update it, I'll do another video on it, but I've done that video before. But I think that's the way it ends for them and everything else. I think that's what it is. Will Dany become pregnant by Jon? What do y'all think about that? Will Dany become pregnant by Jon?
I think she did in the show. I think that's part of the tragic ending of the show that a lot of people are overlooking is that Jon unknowingly killed his own child. Yeah. Right, real quick, just to Val, there's a really funny line with Val where she says something like, "That's right, Kneeler." So awesome. Val's one of the coolest girls in the whole show.
She is. Val's like, she's like Shireen. That she likes Monster. Oh, we didn't really touch on that. We should have probably touched on that because the whole baby swap thing too.
Oh, with with Sam and
because that does come into play. See, because all right, so y'all talk. We could talk. I'll say it right now. Yeah. That baby Sam is the Night's King. That's who he is right there. That's who the Night King will be when he gets resurrected and you see that whole thing happen. I think that's the one. He is the last sacrifice, the 99th or whatever, the 100th baby. They're after that baby. They swap those babies out, right? Because they think they're doing the right thing, because they think that they're saving Manson's baby because of the king's blood, and they leave this Gilly's baby with Craster's, but that's the baby the real White Walkers really want. That's the one who'll go up and be a nice king when it's all said and done. I believe it'll be that fucking baby. That's why they call him Monster. That's the whole thing. That's why he's a brute. That's the one they want. I think he's the one I grew up to that. But
do you think the baby ages fast or something? I've heard you say that a lot of times.
I think they all age to the point that they get to. Because they're not old men. They're not old, decrepit men, in the books. They're angelic angel looking like elves, right?
They more mature than age. And
you know what I mean? So I don't think that they're not like these ugly the things that they showed on TV, they're not that. They just wanted them to look dastardly because they're evil and stuff like that. So,
Wesley in the chats asked a few times about this. What about Rickon? Rickon will show up with Davos at one point.
Yeah, no, Rickon's not irrelevant. Let's be real.
He'll show up with Davos. That's where Davos is, right?
He's with Davos, and that's a whole situation with Skagos and everything. And we could talk about all that in another video, but he's not irrelevant. It's not going to be what they did. He's not going to get an arrow come back and get an arrow through his neck and his direwolf's head chopped off. That's not. They were just trying to clean up a plot hole. Oh, we got Rickon. Let's bring him back. Let's kill him real quick. Make Ramsay look bad. Make Jon Snow have to charge. So they wanted Sansa to be right at that particular time. Like Sansa was like, listen, he's gonna try to bait you. Don't fall for it. And then don't worry. And Sansa was like, listen, Rickon's a dead man. Don't fall for it. He's dead. There's no way he can live. He has to die. He is the heir. He has a better claim to the heir than you. He has to kill him. Don't fall for it. And Jon falls for it and then almost gets himself killed. And that's when he goes into the whole stance. And then Davos goes, charges and goes right behind him. And that's how the whole situation happens. You know?
This is like,
that whole motivation for that. But no, Rickon's going to play a much bigger role than we see.
I love what Wex says in the Secret Targaryen in the chat says, Rickon is learning to zigzag on Skagos.
Yeah, don't sleep on what's going on in Skagos, man. Don't sleep on that Skagos army there too. These people aren't playing over there and stuff like that. Any more questions? If you got any questions, we'll take it about Jon Snow. Anything dealing with Jon Snow. We'll take these questions. We'll do this for like 10 minutes, and then we're going to be out of here and stuff like that. And I think, listen, we had over almost 140 people. I think at one point we had 140, almost 150 people here. Smash that thumbs up button. Thank you. So look, if we had almost 150, we should have like 150 likes, man. Give us a big thumbs up, man, for rocking with us right here. The Don Tony Teflon, Fill the Issues Guy, Bridge 4, Usual Suspects. We in the building doing our thing every Wednesday, 6:15 p.m. Eastern time. And if you have someone that you want us to cover, put it in the comment section what you want us to cover, and we'll see if we could do that for you next week. If not, we don't get enough comments, we'll just pick something out.
Yeah, we might even like at one point get one of those like, you know, roll a subject and pull it out at the end of a show, like it's a topic or something. If you guys want us to talk about House of Dragon stuff or prequel stuff, we'll talk about that stuff.
Yeah, whatever you want us to talk about, we're willing to talk about. Whether it's
anything Song of Ice and Fire, or Game of Thrones related, or if you want,
we talked about will Jon be different when he comes back, like Stoneheart. I think we talked about that a little bit, but Bridge, what do you think? Will he be different when he comes back?
Yeah, we did address this in the beginning of the stream, but the short version for me is that it's a different scenario than Lady Stoneheart. She actually died. B, she was dead for 3 days. Jon Snow most likely not ever had a true death. He's living a second life inside Ghost. So although I think he'll change, it'll be much less of a change than someone like a Lady Stoneheart.
Yeah, and I think he'll change more in the way that when he's in Ghost, in his personalities in Ghost is the dominant personality, so that when he comes back, he will be influenced by Ghost a bit more to maybe be a little bit more bloodthirsty, a little bit more of a loner, a little more, like whatever. I don't want to, like, Ghost's personality as we know it will be transferred a little bit more onto the Jon that we see when he is completely resurrected.
Yeah, because when they say when you stay inside, you become more of the animal. The longer you stay inside, the animal starts to take over you until eventually you're not there anymore. So if you want us to cover something, put it in the comment section, not in the chat right now. Wait till the video's over and then go in the comment section and put it in the comments for us. That helps us out. It helps the video with exposure out. You know, because that's the way YouTube ranks things. The more interaction you get with the video is the more YouTube pumps the video out and everything. So please put it inside the comment section when this video is over, who you want us to cover.
Muspus has a question.
Can you read that, Phil?
Yes, question. I believe Jon dies at the end of the books. I believe his life will be temporary because he has a purpose. What are your thoughts? And when we were talking about how he finishes his storyline, I must admit that did pass through my mind that does he end up dying to save or having a Lord of the Ringsy Frodo-like ending where he has to go off and and he wants to rest or die. I don't think it's going to be that bittersweet. I think Jon does have some sense of happiness at the end of his story. I tend to see it more like as him going off with Val, going off with the wife, going off into the North alone, or with Ghost if Tony's theory doesn't check out. Like some sort of end like that, but I could see him die as well. That did flash through my mind. How about you guys? What do you think of that?
I've gone over my side. I don't think he dies, and I can't see him dying.
Yeah,
I'll say the one scenario I thought is that I came up with a tinfoil theory before season 8 was that now I believe Dany is going to. We can get that into another time, but Dany is going to turn, and Jon will have to kill her. But there was in my head, I was hoping that they were in an alliance, and that if she died herself in childbirth, like many women do, like Lyanna Stark did, having Jon Snow, I thought that she might die in childbirth, and that Jon Snow would give the kiss of life to her to raise her, so that their child could have a mother the way Jon Snow never had a mother. So that would be a really cool ending to his arc, I think. But no, I think hopefully he'll end up north of the Wall of Val.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna die. I mean, I understand why he should die. Usually, when people come back to life, when their purpose is served, they do die. If you look at movies and stuff like that, every time there's a character resurrected, they usually don't stay alive. They usually, once they did what they had to do, they die. Right? Usually that's how it goes. But I don't think it goes like that with Jon because of what Bridge said. He's not dead like Beric Dondarrion, who was killed over 7 times, and that's where he is. He's not Lady Stoneheart dead in the water for 3 days. You know what I mean? He's inside a ghost. He's living a second life, just like we've seen Vlad Siskins live many a times. And look how long he lived. So I think it's a more of a situation like that. So that's why I think in the end he's going to come up. So what you got? You got another
we got something. Greetings from Argentina from Matheos Burgos. Sorry to destroyed your name there. Is Jon the Song of Ice and Fire, or are Jon and Dany? Greetings from Argentina.
Well, what up to Argentina? I think it's Jon. So it's hard to look at it. Jon is the Song of Ice and Fire. He is. He's both. Right. So he's the Song of Ice and Fire. He's the baby of Rhaegar and Lyanna. Right. That's Ice and Fire. He's the baby of that. But Dany, Jon, and I put it in my other video. Go check it out. All the 3 heads of the dragon. The 3 forms of the prince who was promised. It's 3 people who have to defeat them. It's them 3, but Jon himself is the Song of Ice and Fire, the one who will strike the finishing blow. But all 3, it'll take the help of all 3 of them to get it done. What do you think, Bridge?
I do absolutely agree that 100% he is the Song of Ice and Fire, but I don't think that necessarily means he has to deliver the final blow. I think he's more of just like the quarterback of everything. He brings everyone together. And it's sort of actually, I just thought of this literally today, because I think I saw the scene. Like you said, remember when he turned and faced Ramsay's army? Mm-hmm. That's symbolic. That's so symbolic of the way Jon leads. Like he, granted, by running out there to Rickon, he put his people in danger. And by them coming out there to defend him, they're all putting their lives in danger. But the fact of the matter is, he just looked at what he's going to do, and people naturally gravitated towards him because he just inspires loyalty. So it's sort of symbolic of just who he is. So I don't think he necessarily has to deliver the final blow. I think it'll be Arya, but yeah, I do think he's a Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, that's definitely how they almost lost the battle, because of his stupidness, right? Yeah. They would have lost that battle because of his stupidness if it wasn't for Sansa and having her backup plan, and the Knights of the Vale come and sweep and kill him.
Setting up Littlefinger to make him get there to show up to try to get a piece.
And Sansa warned him, so don't do it, and he still did it. But now they lose that battle because of his stupidness. And the only reason that they win that battle is because Sansa is the one who has the backup plan, and she doesn't tell Jon for good reason. Obviously, for good reasons,
You throw their asses in there too.
Like, people talk a lot of shit about that show, all right? But I swear to God, when that scene comes and they're there and you hear that horn and you see that banner of the Vale, I get goosebumps all on my fucking arms still to this day. When they they charge and just rip right through. This is when you see that guy holding he's a flag in the banner. He's just like, you see him get out, but it's like, oh, motherfuckers.
It's like the Riders of Rohan coming in right there in that moment.
They've done so few, because I think it wasn't until the Ygritte and Jon Snow scene that they didn't do any slow motion in the show. And then they had Ygritte dying in his arms in slow motion. But that one was, I love it. Like you said, it's that one guy with the flag and they did it in slow motion. But it was badass.
It's that one motherfucker right there. He has no weapon, no nothing, but it's that that's the power of a banner, right? Like, it's the power of your flag. When you see United States flag, you know what I mean, and it's the power of what a piece of cloth represents everybody at that moment. It represents your family, your friends, your grandparents, your ancestors. It just represents, that one cloth represents your land, your house, your cat, your dog, everything. It represents everything that you're fighting for. And that's just the power of a banner and what a banner means and why it's so important in life. We'll take this question from Sydney Taylor. Says, Jon will, is this a question? It's just said it
Jon
too
will
much.
be the one to end the White Walkers and Daenerys because he represents both, and there needs to be a in between both, and he's the only one that can do that.
You know, I know a lot of people who said that said we'll take Latoya's right after that.
I want to get Latoya's earlier question too. She wants to know if Ghost and Nymeria are going to hook up.
All right. So I know people said that maybe there's a deal. Maybe there's a deal with the White Walkers that Jon becomes the new Night King or Dany becomes the new Night Queen. We could talk about theories we'll do a whole podcast on theories. And
a tinfoil theory podcast.
We'll just write down a whole bunch of theories and then go by them one at a time and see if.
And we'll each give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to it or some shit like that. Either we'll approve it or not approve it, and from each one of us, and we'll see if it goes through or some shit.
We'll do some stuff. We'll do a whole theory. So we'll Ghost, and I mean I hope so because Ghost was gonna die. So to have some Ghost pups would be great. It'll be a little bit, and it makes sense for the fact that George R. R. Martin's plan in the beginning was to have Jon be with Arya.
Yep.
So to have Jon's wolf be with Arya's wolf would be kind of like that in a wolfy type of way. What do you think, Bridge?
It's weird because the Targaryens just sort of normalize incest, right? And even though Jon is Targaryen, but now as soon as you said that, now I'm wondering and what if Jon and Arya were working the wolves at that time? It's not even the wolves having sex; it's Jon and Arya, like George R. R. Martin wanted it. No, what was the question? Are the wolves going to have wolf babies? Oh no, I don't think so. I think that because like Jon Snow, the reason in the show, for example, that he was sort of creeped out. Like Dany's like, all right, I found out we're related, but I'm still cool. Like our family used to do this. Jon Snow just, there's biological and just who you are in your heart. He's a Ned Stark. He's a Stark. So that's just weird to him. And same with Arya. I don't think, I think George R. R. Martin completely changed the direction he was going to go with the Starks. He made a contrast between them and the Targaryens. So no wolf babies.
He was going to do that. I mean, that was the original plan.
Yeah, in that short outline thing, he was
going to pull that off. You know what I mean? But listen, it just shows that Val's hotter than Daenerys, right? Because if Daenerys was that hot, Jon would be with her. But he's like, no, I'm not.
Now, Latoya's other question was, will Jon be able to ride Drogon after killing Daenerys? I don't think so. I do think after Daenerys dies, Drogon will go off similarly to in the way that he does in the show and just kind of disappears, and maybe Bran will control him or something. If anything,
I think Drogon's going. I don't think it's a situation with the burning of the Iron Throne, but I think he just takes off and he just flies off by himself.
He doesn't have a hissy fit and burn the Iron Throne like a mad Godzilla for a second.
No, he just goes. I would say what do you think about Drogon, Bridge? Do you think he just goes away in the end, or?
Yes and no. I think it'll be similar to the show, but to recap, the way I interpret the show is that just like with Varamir and the Wolf and Jon Snow right now and Ghost, I think Dany is now living a second life inside Drogon. So it was her that showed Jon mercy. So I think it's Dany actually flying off in the books. If she doesn't pit stop at Volantis on the way back to Westeros, I think that's where Drogon is presumably going to be going, because she's basically she has a second chance at life, living a second life inside Drogon, and she's going to go after the slave masters of Volantis. So it'll be sort of like a headcanon. It'll be like a silver lining to her ending.
Nice. We got a super chat from the beautiful Carla Wade, all the way from Australia. Aussie. Is that what you're supposed to say?
Aussie, oi, something like that.
I don't know. We're American. Listen, I used to drink Foster's beer because I really thought it was from Australia. I swear to God. Like, I used to drink them oil cans of Foster. You know the Foster beer, the oil cans?
Yeah, it's not from Australia? I thought it was.
No, it's not from Australia. I thought it was from Australia. Then someone told that shit ain't from Australia, man. That's just from Brooklyn.
It's just an American company that saw Crocodile Dundee, and then they made the beer. They're like, oh, we'll do some Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, that's the reason why I drank that shit, man. I really used to drink that shit. I used to be like, oi, and drink it. That shit ain't from Australia. All right. She says, nice stream, lads. Loving this time slot for your Aussie friends. Yeah, I'm glad that this time slot works for everyone, from, I think, in Australia, and for people in America, and also for people, in Great Britain. I think it's a good time slot here. So hopefully that's why we got it.
10 a.m. We're her morning talk show right now. That's
great. You have to grow better than Sharon Osbourne. All right. Any other questions in here? Does Jon fight Rhaegar's fake son? that goes into more of a Fagon situation.
Yeah.
We'll do a stream. Like I said, if whoever you wanted to do a stream on or anything you want, please put it in the comment section, not in the chat right now. When the video's over, go to the comment section and put who you want us to do, and we'll pick one of them. Maybe we'll do something like that. Like that. Yeah, Foster's is Australian for beer, but it ain't made in Australia.
It's made in Brooklyn.
It's made in Brooklyn. You know, it's like that. It's that salsa commercial. You know, that salsa commercial, like, oh, you got that salsa? Where's it made in? New York City. New York City.
It's made in New York City.
There you go, damn salsa. It's made in New York City. But that is a good question. I wish I could answer it for it. We do a Fagon thing. We'll talk more about exactly the way it goes.
A couple people were asking, will Jon fight Euron? Will Euron actually be the final boss, or being the final boss? Isn't
no.
Right?
I think if that was the case, we would have seen it in the show. They had both characters in the show, and they didn't even come close. Euron is Jaime's guy. It's Cersei. He's with. It all boils down to that situation in the end. That's what it goes.
Sweet Robin will toss Jon out the moon door. No, I mean we can hope that he tosses. That's how Jon's story ends. Sweet Robin throws him out the moon door. I mean we could do that.
I always thought that my ending for Peter Baelish I made up was much better. I still think it could happen. I still think it could happen. But we could do a whole Peter Baelish. That would be a great video.
We do I think we should combine Baelish and Varys. Do like a Varys and Baelish episode.
We could definitely do that. Teflon, will Arya confront Jon? Might she think he took Winterfell for himself and betray the vows to the Night's Watch? I don't think that Arya would care about the Night's Watch vows at all. Because he technically didn't, because he died, right? So he's free of those vows.
What's interesting though, no. Reese makes a good point, because Jon had sent off Darren, and then Darren ditched his Night's Watch vows, and then she killed him. Darren was a singer. Yeah. So in the Feast for Crows, she killed someone. So I think that's where the question's probably stemming from. That's a really good question, though. But no, I think that their love. But like you said, he's free of his vows after he dies. But also just. I mean, their love, you'd hope that their love transcends any type of vow. I'm going to tell you what, man.
My watch is
I'm going to tell you what. The Sansa Jon reunion was so much better than the Arya Jon reunion. And I know everyone looked forward more to the Arya Jon reunion, but it didn't compare to the Sansa Jon.
The other one was, the Sansa one was more emotional for whatever reason. The Arya one was like, they were awkward with each other. And it was
because Sansa was been through everything she'd been through. And she escaped, and she was getting raped. They had to get raped, and they show her, and she's all disheveled, and her clothes are all bad, and everything else. And when she finally makes it to Jon, it's like such a release. Like, finally, Sansa, you're safe now. You're away from that madman, and now you're safe. You're with your brother. I think more of that. That's the reason why it was more emotional. Arya was just back from kicking ass. So I was like, hey, how you doing, Jon?
He goes up, she's not even there. It's like, where is she? She's lurking around. He's walking around. She walks up to him later. It's not as built up of an emotional moment. I would say even the moment with Bran in the tower, or when Bran's outside and Jon's inside, that's an even stronger emotional moment than the Sansa moment. Just that moment of knowing that the two of them are that close. And when Bran jumps into Summer and he's like, Jon is there. I saw, I don't know, there's that's a close Stark reunion that almost makes me more emotional than the actual Stark reunion.
Oh, when Sansa did that thing, she started chowing down, boy. If they gave her that food, she was everything she could eat right then.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Oh, she was hungry. She had to. Any other? Definitely hit that thumbs up for you boys.
Someone asked Teflon, will Jon be king in the books?
King beyond the wall, yes. He's the king beyond the wall. What do you think, Bridge, about that?
Yep, I do think he becomes king of the North temporarily, but eventually, after the War for the Dawn, and then the War for the King's Landing, whatever you want to call it, I think it'll be somewhat similar to the show. There'll be some differences, but I think, like you said, I hope and think that he'll become king of the North, the true king of the North.
This
So
is
he'll go from being Winterfell king to the true king of the North.
I like honeycombs too.
I get a good question that from Lynn Mack that I think we talked about this earlier, but I think both you might have separate answers. Ramsay versus Stannis. Who lives longer and who is essentially the battle of the bastard opponent for Jon?
Yeah.
There is none for Jon. Jon, the battle's over in my book. Stannis beats the Boltons in general. We talked about it. I won't go into it in detail again, but we did talk about that. And if you want to watch the video over, it's early in the video. You'll see us talk about that. We go through the whole thing. But so there's no battle of the bastards for Jon. That's Stannis' battle that they gave to Jon for the show for Kit Harington being the star of purpose and them not wanting to deal with the actor who played Stannis Baratheon. Dan and Dave are very petty. It's been proven over and over again that they're petty. When they killed off Barris and Selmy's character, they said they were happy to do it because the guy beefed that they killed him off. So I'm not dead in the books yet. And they said they were happy to kill him off because he kept coming to them. They said,
"Do I see any books here, you motherfucker? We're doing Star Wars."
They said specifically that they gave Jon Snow's character a small penis because Kit Harington had too much going for him. That's why they put that in the show. They said that specifically. So they're petty. They're petty. They're really petty. So that's the reason why they did that. You know what I mean? And that's the bottom line. There's no way of disputing that. So I don't think that there's a battle of the bastards battle for them. Jon Snow is going to go right into the battle with the White Walkers when it's all said and done with Winterfell and everything else. But I don't think that there's a battle of the bastards for Jon. What do you think, Bridge, about that?
Yeah, I think Stannis has a temporary win at the Crofters Village at the lakes, and then I think he gets destroyed. And I think Jon comes down and takes out Ramsay. I think
I love to say that destroyed too. The way you say it,
he takes a lot of joy in
he just happy to say that, but he's gonna get destroyed. He's gonna be annihilated.
Oh my god,
he's wiped out completely and destroyed.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. I use these like such, and I say it so casually. Just to be clear though, I absolutely love Stannis.
Leave my boy alone. He ain't getting destroyed. He's winning that one. You'll see.
I'm so sorry, man.
I love it.
Don't be. I think we're 2 hours in. Obviously, we can go longer, and I would love to go long, but we're going to end it right here for everybody right now. Again, thank you for everybody who came out here rocking with us. Leave it in the comment section who you want us to do next week. We'll get that done. We'll make a decision within a couple of days and get that done. Hit that thumbs up for your boys on the way out. Thank you for the super chat real quick. We'll take this real quick.
Thank you,
first time finding y'all. Love this stream so much. You guys are a breath of fresh air and a song of ice and fire discussion. All the love will sub for future content. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate that. You know what I mean? That's why we're doing this and stuff like that. Again, hit that thumbs up for your boys right here. It's the Usual Suspects podcast on Teflon TV. Fill the issues guy. Bridge for the Don Tony Teflon. If you like the way we do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and as always, subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.